Tonight, as you close your eyes and allow the weight of the day to fall gently away, something far greater than ordinary sleep is beginning. You are not merely resting a tired body. You are not simply escaping the responsibilities, worries, unanswered questions, and financial concerns that may have followed you throughout the day. You are entering a quiet and sacred interval in which the outer world grows still, the conscious mind loosens its grip, and the deeper chambers of your being become available for transformation. There is a moment between waking and sleeping when the mind is no longer arguing with every new idea. The familiar voices of fear begin to soften. The old habit of analyzing, doubting, resisting, and asking how everything will happen becomes quieter. In that peaceful interval, a new word can be planted. A new expectation can take root. A new consciousness can begin to form. And tonight, you are going to use that receptive state deliberately. For the next 21 nights, you will allow the hours normally surrendered to unconscious worry to become hours of spiritual renewal. You will no longer carry the language of lack into sleep. You will no longer rehearse unpaid bills, missed opportunities, past mistakes, or imagined disasters as the final impressions placed upon your mind before rest. Instead, you will fill the doorway of sleep with words of faith. You will enter the night with the consciousness of divine supply. You will rest beneath the assurance that divine order is working, even when you cannot see how it is working. You will allow your deeper mind to receive a new message. You are supported. You are guided. You are provided for. You are capable of recognizing and receiving the good that belongs to you. These 21 nights are not about forcing money to appear through strain. They are not about pretending that practical responsibilities do not exist. They are not an excuse to ignore wise action, honest work, careful decisions, or responsible stewardship. They are about changing the inner atmosphere from which your actions arise. For an action born from fear carries the confusion of fear. An action born from desperation often overlooks the very opportunity it is seeking. But an action born from peace is clearer. An action born from faith is more courageous. An action born from divine guidance has a timing, an intelligence, and an effectiveness that frantic human effort cannot reproduce. This is the deeper purpose of these 21 nights. You are not attempting to control the outer world through empty words. You are preparing your consciousness so that you can see, receive, and act upon the good that fear may have hidden from you. Tonight is the first night of that preparation. Tonight marks a new agreement between you and your own spoken word. Over the next 3 weeks, you will begin to notice subtle changes. You may think about money differently. You may become calmer when facing a financial decision. You may recognize an idea that would once have passed unnoticed. You may feel prompted to call someone, complete an application, revise a plan, learn a skill, offer a service, or walk away from an arrangement that no longer honors your value. Some changes may appear inwardly before anything changes outwardly. Do not dismiss them. The first evidence of prosperity is often peace. The first sign of a new path is often a quiet intuition. The first manifestation may not be a large sum of money. It may be the disappearance of panic. It may be the return of courage. It may be one clear idea arriving where confusion once lived. When the inner state changes, right action becomes possible. When right action becomes possible, new conditions can form. And when divine order governs the process, the way may open through channels you could never have planned in advance. You do not need to know tonight exactly how your financial life will improve. You do not need to calculate every step before you begin. You only need to become willing to release the old vocabulary of limitation and accept a higher vocabulary of faith, wisdom, abundance, and right action. Your conscious mind may say, "But I have tried before." Your deeper spiritual understanding answers, "This is a new moment." Your conscious mind may say, "I do not know where the money will come from." Faith answers, "I do not limit divine supply to one channel." Your conscious mind may say, "The situation appears impossible." Divine intelligence answers, "What appears impossible to limited sight may already be moving toward resolution. Tonight, you are not required to solve everything. You are required only to become receptive. Allow that word to settle within you. Receptive. Receptive to guidance. Receptive to opportunity. Receptive to wise ideas. Receptive to helpful relationships. Receptive to honest prosperity. Receptive to the circulation of good. Receptive to the peace that allows you to recognize what is already trying to reach you. By the morning after the 21st night, you may not feel as though you have become another person entirely. You will still be yourself, but you may be a self who no longer automatically agrees with scarcity. You may be a self who questions fear instead of obeying it. You may be a self who expects solutions. You may be a self who speaks with greater care because you understand that repeated words become instructions to the mind. You may be a self who can say with sincerity, "I am guided by divine intelligence. My words are filled with power and peace. Divine order governs every part of my financial life. I recognize the opportunities that belong to me. I take wise, inspired, and courageous action. The way is made clear before me." This is the consciousness you are cultivating. But before you allow yourself to drift into the deeper portion of tonight's practice, make a clear decision while your conscious attention is still present. Decide that you will return for 21 consecutive nights. Do not treat this as a passing experiment that you remember only when it is convenient. Give the practice a place in your evening. Allow it to become a quiet appointment with your higher consciousness. Subscribe or save this recording where you can find it easily each night. Remove the unnecessary friction of searching for it again. Let consistency become an act of self-respect. Then make a declaration in the comments. I commit to 21 consecutive nights of renewing my wealth consciousness. Divine order now opens my way. You may add your city and country if you wish, not as a demand for attention, but as a reminder that people in many places are choosing to replace fear with faith. A declaration spoken publicly can strengthen commitment. It tells the conscious mind that this is no longer a vague wish, it is a decision. There is a great difference between wishing and deciding. A wish says, "Perhaps I will continue." A decision says, "I have begun." A wish waits for perfect conditions. A decision creates a rhythm, despite imperfect conditions. A wish is easily abandoned when doubt appears. A decision remembers that doubt is often only an old habit protesting the arrival of a new one. Make your decision tonight, and when you complete the 21 nights, return and share what changed. Perhaps an unexpected opportunity appeared. Perhaps a burden was resolved. Perhaps a payment arrived. Perhaps a new source of income began to develop. Perhaps you became more disciplined with money. Perhaps you released shame surrounding an old mistake. Perhaps you finally saw that prosperity is not merely possessing more, but becoming a wiser, calmer, more trustworthy steward of what comes into your hands. Your testimony does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. A peaceful mind is a testimony. A wise decision is a testimony. A restored sense of worth is a testimony. The courage to begin again is a testimony. The ability to sleep without rehearsing disaster is a testimony. Whatever changes, honor it. Gratitude strengthens recognition, and what you recognize with gratitude becomes easier to welcome, use, and multiply. Now breathe slowly. Allow your shoulders to soften. Let your jaw relax. Let the muscles around your eyes become still. The work of this night is not the work of force. It is the work of consent. You are consenting to a new pattern. You are consenting to peace. You are consenting to divine guidance. You are consenting to become a clear channel through which wisdom, service, value, opportunity, and prosperity may circulate. Tonight, speak inwardly. I release the belief that struggle is my only path. I release the belief that fear protects me. I release the belief that my past controls my future. I accept divine order. I accept wise prosperity. I accept right action. I accept peace. I am willing to receive my good in a harmonious way. And so the first door begins to open. Your relationship with money did not begin today. Long before you consciously evaluated ideas about wealth, you were listening. As a child, you listened to the way adults spoke when bills arrived. You observed whether money created calm conversations or conflict. You noticed whether prosperous people were admired, resented, feared, criticized, or treated with suspicion. You absorbed statements such as, "Money is hard to earn. We can never afford anything. People like us do not become wealthy. You must exhaust yourself to survive. Wanting more is selfish. Rich people are dishonest. There is never enough. You cannot trust money because it always disappears." Perhaps no one intentionally tried to limit you. Most people simply repeat the language they inherited. Fear moves through families when it is never examined. Scarcity becomes a tradition when it is mistaken for realism. A parent may have loved you deeply and still have passed on financial anxiety. A religious authority may have wished to encourage humility but accidentally taught you to associate poverty with purity. A difficult experience may have persuaded you that receiving money is unsafe because every time you gained something, another burden seemed to appear. A failed business, lost job, unwise investment, betrayal, debt, illness, or family crisis may have become evidence in your mind that prosperity cannot be trusted. These impressions do not always remain as conscious sentences. They become feelings. They become tension in the body when money is discussed. They become avoidance when an account must be reviewed. They become hesitation when you are offered an opportunity. They become guilt when you charge a fair price. They become discomfort when someone praises your work. They become the impulse to spend immediately because some part of you does not believe money will remain. They become the habit of rejecting help because receiving feels like weakness. They become the belief that you must do everything alone. This is why positive words spoken once during the day may seem unable to overcome years of repetition. The old belief has been practiced. It has been emotionally reinforced. It has been repeated in moments of fear. But an old belief is not an eternal truth. It is a pattern, and what has been learned can be replaced by something wiser. The purpose of this 21-night practice is not to wage war against yourself. Do not condemn your mind for having absorbed fear. Do not become angry with the child you once were for believing what powerful adults repeatedly said. Meet the old programming with compassion. It formed in an attempt to understand the world. It may even have tried to protect you, but you no longer need to allow yesterday's protection mechanism to govern tomorrow's possibilities. You can say, "I understand why this fear formed, and I release it now. I bless the past, but I do not repeat it. I forgive those who taught me scarcity because they were speaking from their own wounds. I choose a new word. My mind is teachable. My consciousness is receptive to truth. Divine supply is greater than inherited fear." The time before sleep is especially valuable because the noise of the day has begun to recede. During waking hours, a new affirmation may immediately meet an argument. You say, "I am supported," and the analytical mind answers, "Then explain this bill." You say, "The way is opening," and the mind demands, "Show me the entire plan." You say, "I am prosperous," and memory displays every past disappointment. At night, you do not have to debate these voices. You can allow them to grow quiet. You can place a new idea gently into the mind without forcing yourself to prove it immediately. This is not about deceiving yourself. It is about refusing to make temporary appearances your highest authority. A bank balance is information, but it is not your identity. A debt is a condition to be handled, but it is not a prophecy. A rejection is an event, but it is not a permanent verdict. A period of unemployment is a circumstance, but it is not proof that your gifts have no value. A failed attempt is an education, but it is not a command to stop. You can acknowledge facts without worshiping them. You can face numbers honestly while refusing to fill them with terror. You can make practical plans while maintaining faith. Spiritual consciousness and responsible action are not enemies. They belong together. Faith does not say, ignore the account. Faith says, look at the account without surrendering your power. Faith does not say, avoid the conversation. Faith says, enter the conversation guided by wisdom. Faith does not say, never work. Faith says, do not confuse frantic activity with effective action. Faith does not promise that every desire will arrive in the exact form your human mind has selected. Faith allows a greater intelligence to reveal the right form, the right timing, the right channel, and the right next step. This is why repetition matters. The mind learns through repeated attention. A path across a field becomes visible because it is walked again and again. In the same way, an inner path becomes natural because thought repeatedly travels in that direction. On the first night, the new words may feel unfamiliar. On the second night, you may still hear resistance. By the seventh night, certain phrases may begin to feel less foreign. By the 14th night, you may notice that you naturally interrupt fearful thinking during the day. By the 21st night, you may find that peace returns more quickly, guidance is heard more clearly, and wise action feels more available. Do not turn the number 21 into superstition. The power does not exist in a number alone. The power is in faithful repetition, sustained attention, emotional acceptance, and the right action that follows a changed state of mind. 21 nights provide a clear container for commitment. They give you enough time to observe patterns, establish a rhythm, and strengthen a new inner vocabulary. Consistency tells the mind, this teaching matters. This new direction is not temporary. I am no longer feeding fear every night. I am building a different relationship with prosperity. For these 21 nights, protect the final moments before sleep. Do not fill them with arguments, frightening headlines, angry conversations, or endless calculations of what might go wrong. When possible, resolve practical matters earlier in the evening. Then, as bedtime approaches, close the day. Say inwardly, everything that required my attention today has received what I could give. What remains unfinished is placed in divine order. I release the need to solve tomorrow tonight. I am safe to rest. My mind is restored while I sleep. Divine intelligence reveals the next right step at the right time. There is wisdom in rest. A mind deprived of rest often mistakes urgency for guidance. A rested mind can recognize proportion. It can distinguish between a true warning and an old fear. It can perceive an opening that exhaustion would have overlooked. Therefore, sleep is not laziness. Peace is not passivity. Rest can be preparation for right action. As you continue this practice, watch for intuitive impressions. Guidance may not arrive as a loud, mystical voice. It may come as a quiet thought that returns repeatedly. It may be an impulse to organize your records. It may be the realization that a service you offer should be presented differently. It may be a clear sense that you need training. It may be an invitation to speak to someone. It may be an awareness that you have been undervaluing your work. It may be a gentle warning against a risky or dishonest arrangement. It may be the courage to ask for fair compensation. It may be the humility to seek professional advice. It may be the realization that prosperity is flowing toward you through discipline rather than sudden surprise. Follow guidance with intelligence. Do not use spiritual language to justify reckless decisions. Divine guidance does not require dishonesty. It does not demand that you gamble what you cannot afford to lose. It does not ask you to ignore obvious danger. True guidance brings a deeper steadiness, even when courageous action is required. It aligns with integrity. It blesses rather than exploits. It creates value rather than merely chasing appearances. During these 21 nights, let your definition of wealth become more complete. Wealth includes money, but it is not limited to money. Wealth is useful knowledge. Wealth is physical vitality. Wealth is emotional peace. Wealth is trustworthy companionship. Wealth is time used well. Wealth is creative ability. Wealth is the freedom to make choices aligned with your values. Wealth is having something beneficial to give. Wealth is receiving without shame and sharing without fear. When consciousness becomes abundant, it does not merely ask, "How much can I get?" It also asks, "What value can move through me? What problem can I help solve? What gift have I neglected? What service can I offer with excellence? What wise structure will allow my good to endure?" Prosperity consciousness is not careless fantasy. It is the union of faith and stewardship. It expects good, recognizes guidance, acts intelligently, gives value, receives fairly, and circulates blessings wisely. Tonight, let these words sink beneath the surface. I am not fighting against life. I am cooperating with divine order. I am not chasing every opportunity. I recognize the opportunities that are right for me. I do not force closed doors. I am guided toward the doors that open in peace. I do not beg life to value me. I recognize my value and express it through useful service. I do not speak continually of lack. I speak the word of faith, wisdom, gratitude, and right action. My subconscious mind receives the language of peace. My habits are becoming orderly. My decisions are becoming wiser. My relationship with money is being healed. My consciousness is becoming a hospitable place for prosperity. Let these words become familiar. Let them be the path you walk across the inner field. Night after night, thought after thought, word after word, you are creating a new route. And as the inner route becomes clear, the outer journey begins to change. Consider the story of a woman who found herself facing a financial crisis after the sudden death of her husband. She had 3 young children. For many years, she had devoted herself to caring for the home while her husband provided the family's income. They had lived modestly, always believing they would arrange greater financial protection later when there was more money and more time. But later did not arrive as they expected. Her husband died unexpectedly, leaving no adequate insurance and very little savings. In a single season, grief and financial fear became intertwined. She was not only mourning the person she loved, she was also confronting the terrifying practical question of how she would feed, house, and protect 3 children without recent work experience or dependable income. She moved temporarily into her sister's home. At first, the arrangement appeared to be a rescue, but the house was small, resources were limited, and unspoken resentment slowly entered the atmosphere. The woman began to feel like an intruder. A sigh from her sister sounded like condemnation. A closed door felt like rejection. A comment about groceries became evidence that she and her children were unwanted. Whether every impression was accurate or not, her fear magnified everything. She applied for job after job. Some employers rejected her because she had been outside the workforce for too long. Others required hours that conflicted with her children's needs. Some jobs paid so little that transportation and childcare would consume nearly everything she earned. Each rejection seemed to confirm the thought she was already carrying. There is no way out. She borrowed what she could. She reduced every expense she could reduce. She counted each remaining dollar repeatedly, as though looking at the number long enough might cause it to increase. One evening, after adding the bills again, she saw that she had less than $20 available, and obligations totaling thousands. The figures did not merely appear on paper. They seemed to rise before her like a wall. She tried to think positively, but the effort felt dishonest. How could she speak of abundance when the numbers showed lack? How could she declare peace when she feared homelessness? How could she believe that she was supported when every visible support seemed temporary? At night, she lay awake in the guest room while her children slept nearby. Her body was exhausted, but her mind refused to rest. It moved from one disaster to another. She imagined the family being asked to leave. She imagined her children going hungry. She imagined being separated from them because she could not provide a stable home. She rehearsed conversations that had not happened. She defended herself against accusations no one had made. She calculated money that had not arrived and expenses that had not yet become due. Night after night, she used the doorway of sleep to repeat fear. Without intending to do so, She was training her whole system to expect disaster. Then she encountered a teaching that asked her to use those same nighttime hours differently. She was not told to deny the bills. She was not told to abandon her job search. She was not told that practical action had no place. She was asked to stop making terror the final words spoken over her life each night. She was given a bedtime declaration. As I rest tonight, divine abundance moves through my consciousness in peace. Every part of my mind is released from fear and aligned with infinite supply. Divine intelligence is working through me and for me. Every false belief in lack is dissolved. Every right idea is revealed. Every right opportunity is brought into view. I am guided toward honest, harmonious, and sufficient provision. I awaken calm, clear, receptive, and ready to take the right action. My good reaches me through expected and unexpected channels, under grace and in perfect ways. After speaking the longer declaration, she was instructed to repeat 3 simple sentences as she fell asleep. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. The woman did not feel convinced. On the first night, she spoke the words through tears. Part of her felt foolish. Her circumstances appeared to contradict every sentence. When she said, I am divinely provided for, the fearful mind answered, then why do you have so little? When she said, divine intelligence is working, fear answered, then why can you not see the solution? But she continued. She was beginning to understand that faith does not always begin as a feeling. Sometimes faith begins as a decision not to repeat the language that is destroying your peace. She did not need to feel powerful. She only needed to stop giving fear unrestricted authority over the final moments of her day. She spoke slowly. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. Again, I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. The words did not change the account that night. They did, however, change the direction of her attention. For the first time in months, her mind was not rehearsing homelessness as sleep approached. Her breathing slowed. Her body began to release its tension. She slept through the night. When morning came, the external situation was still difficult, but she had received something she had not possessed the day before. Rest. That rest was the first form of provision. A frightened person may overlook it because it does not look like money. Yet rest gave her enough clarity to continue. She repeated the practice the next night, and the next. During the first week, no dramatic financial miracle occurred. She did not receive a large check. No perfect employer appeared. No stranger arrived with a complete solution. But something within her began to shift. The catastrophic thoughts lost a little of their force. Fear still spoke, but she no longer believed every sentence immediately. Occasionally, a quiet thought arose. Perhaps there is a way I have not seen yet. She noticed this thought and protected it. She did not demand that it explain everything. She allowed it to remain as a small light. Her applications became less frantic. She reviewed them more carefully. She began presenting her years of managing a household not as an empty gap, but as evidence of organization, scheduling, problem-solving, budgeting, responsibility, and care. She remembered abilities she had forgotten because fear had convinced her she possessed nothing of value. This is one way consciousness changes circumstances. Not always by producing money instantly, but by restoring the awareness needed to recognize value, communicate clearly, and act effectively. During the second week, small openings appeared. A neighbor learned that she was seeking work and asked whether she could care for 2 children after school for a modest daily payment. The income was not enough to solve everything, but it was movement. It gave her immediate money for necessary expenses. More importantly, it challenged the belief that no one needed what she could offer. Soon afterward, groceries appeared at the house with a note saying that someone had felt prompted to help. She did not know who had left them. In the past, shame might have caused her to reject the gift inwardly. But now she practiced receiving with gratitude. She said, I bless the giver. I receive this good without shame. I allow provision to reach me through many channels. I will circulate good to others when I am able. Her sister's attitude also began to soften. Perhaps the sister sensed that the woman was no longer surrounded by the same intensity of desperation. Perhaps the sister's own fear had been expressed as coldness. Perhaps grace was working in both of them. Whatever the explanation, the sister offered to watch the children during interviews. This practical support increased the woman's options. None of these events alone appeared large enough to transform her life. Yet together they formed a pattern: a little income, food at the right time, childcare support, greater peace, improved self-presentation, the return of hope. She began to understand that a path often appears one stone at a time. If you refuse to step until the entire bridge is visible, you may remain standing at the shore. But when the next stone appears, faith steps upon it with gratitude. Near the end of the 21 nights, a former acquaintance heard that the woman was looking for employment. They had known each other years earlier, before her marriage and before she left the workforce. The acquaintance now worked in a management position and knew of an opening that required reliability, organization, sensitivity, and the ability to handle multiple responsibilities. The woman's years of caring for a family, once interpreted only as a disadvantage, became part of what qualified her. The position paid more than she had expected and included hours compatible with her children's school schedule. Around the same time, a distant relative sent financial assistance after learning of her situation. Then, an affordable housing opportunity became available through circumstances she could not have arranged alone. Within a relatively short period, the condition that had looked like a single solid wall revealed several openings. Employment came through a relationship from the past. Temporary money came through family. Food came through an anonymous act of kindness. Childcare came through reconciliation. Housing came through an unexpected arrangement. No single channel carried the entire supply. This was one of the greatest lessons she learned. Divine supply is not limited to the channel the human mind has selected. Fear had insisted, "One employer must rescue me immediately." Divine order used many people, ideas, decisions, relationships, and opportunities. When the woman later reflected upon her experience, she realized that the most important change had occurred before the job, the money, or the housing appeared. The real turning point was the night she stopped using sleep to practice disaster. She had changed the inner instruction. Previously, she went to bed saying through images and emotion, "We are unsafe. There is no help. Nothing will work. I am alone." After beginning the practice, she went to sleep saying, "I am guided. I am supported. A way is being revealed. I am willing to receive." That change did not excuse her from action. It made better action possible. She still applied for work. She still attended interviews. She still accepted temporary opportunities. She still had to organize childcare, complete paperwork, manage limited funds, and make difficult decisions. But she no longer performed these actions under the complete control of panic. Peace entered the process, and peace allowed guidance to be heard. This is what you are learning tonight. The words you repeat before sleep are not meant to replace action. They are meant to change the consciousness that chooses the action. Do not ask an affirmation to perform the work that belongs to you. Let the affirmation prepare you to perform your work with clarity, courage, and expectation. Do not merely say, "Money comes to me," while refusing every inspired idea. Say, "Money comes to me through the value I am guided to express. I recognize my opportunity and respond. I am willing to learn. I am willing to serve. I am willing to receive fair compensation. I am willing to correct unwise habits. I am willing to release arrangements that drain my resources. I am willing to become a faithful steward of increasing good." The widow's first miracle was sleep. Her second miracle was peace. Her third miracle was recognizing that she still possessed value. Then practical channels began to open. Remember this, whenever you are tempted to dismiss a small change. A calm conversation may be the beginning of restoration. A new idea may be the seed of a business. A temporary job may introduce you to a permanent opportunity. A modest payment may help you rebuild confidence. An honest review of your finances may reveal unnecessary loss. A course may develop a skill that later creates income. A conversation may reconnect you with someone who can point you toward the right door. Do not despise beginnings. Divine order often enters quietly. Tonight, declare, I welcome the first sign of movement. I recognize small openings. I bless every honest source of provision. I receive help with gratitude and dignity. I take the next right step. I do not demand that one channel provide everything. Infinite supply has infinite channels. I am guided toward the people, ideas, skills, and opportunities that serve my highest good. My consciousness is no longer imprisoned by appearances. Peace now prepares me for prosperity. Allow these words to become your own. You do not need to imitate another person's testimony. Your path may unfold differently. Your provision may come through employment, business, creative work, careful saving, debt restructuring, education, collaboration, professional advice, a new client, improved health, or a long-delayed decision. Do not dictate every detail. Speak the word of faith, remain alert to guidance, and take the action that integrity requires. Divine order is capable of arranging a way greater than the one fear can imagine. Now you are ready to move from teaching into deeper relaxation. From this point forward, you do not need to concentrate upon every sentence. You do not need to memorize the words. You do not need to test whether the practice is working. Constantly checking for results is another form of tension. A seed is not strengthened by being pulled from the earth every morning to see whether roots have formed. Plant the word. Nourish it with repetition. Support it with right action. Allow growth to occur in its proper time. Lower the volume to a gentle, comfortable level. Let the voice remain present without demanding your full attention. Arrange your body in the position that feels most natural. Rest your head upon the pillow. Allow your hands to become still. Let your legs grow heavy. Feel the bed, supporting your entire weight. You do not have to hold yourself up now. You are supported. Take a slow breath in through the nose and release it gently. Again, breathe in, receive peace. Breathe out, release the day. Once more, breathe in slowly. And as you exhale, allow every unfinished concern to move out of the foreground of your mind. Nothing needs to be solved in this moment. You are entering rest. Silently repeat, I am safe to rest. I am willing to receive. Divine intelligence works in peace. Again, I am safe to rest. I am willing to receive. Divine intelligence works in peace. And one more time, I am safe to rest. I am willing to receive. Divine intelligence works in peace. Now let all effort soften. There is nowhere to hurry. There is nothing to force. The wealthy self you are cultivating is not a frantic self. It is not a self that chases every possibility in fear. It is a self established in worth, wisdom, peace, service, and expectancy. You are becoming receptive to prosperity that arrives under grace, in honest ways, and for the good of all concerned. Let these words drift through you. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. My needs are met through right and harmonious channels. I welcome increasing abundance with gratitude. I manage money with wisdom. I recognize the value within me. I express that value with confidence. I receive fair compensation for useful work. I release fear surrounding money. I release shame surrounding past financial decisions. I forgive myself for what I did not yet understand. I learn. I grow. I begin again. Divine order now governs my finances. Divine order governs my work. Divine order governs my relationships. Divine order governs every opportunity that enters my life. What is right for me is drawn toward me. What is not right for me passes away without harm. I do not force closed doors. I recognize the door that divine wisdom opens. I take inspired action with courage. I am calm when making decisions. I am patient when clarity is still forming. I am decisive when the right action becomes known. My words are filled with faith and peace. I no longer speak carelessly against my own prosperity. I do not repeatedly declare that I am hopeless. I do not turn temporary difficulty into permanent identity. I do not say that nothing ever works for me. I do not curse my work, my income, my abilities, or my future. I choose words that bless the path before me. I say, the way is opening. I am learning what I need to learn. I am meeting the right people. I am guided toward increasing value. I am becoming a wise steward. I am ready for greater responsibility. I receive good, and I use good well. Abundance is not foreign to me. Life itself is abundant. There are countless leaves upon the trees, countless grains of sand upon the shore, countless stars beyond what the eye can see, countless ideas waiting to be received, countless ways for value to be created, countless opportunities for people to help one another. I release the belief that another person's prosperity diminishes mine. I bless the success of others. Their success is evidence that possibilities exist. I learn without envy. I admire without comparing. I celebrate without feeling excluded. The good of another person does not close my door. I remain attentive to my own appointed path. I am not late. I am not forgotten. I am not overlooked by divine intelligence. My journey has its own rhythm. My lessons have prepared me. My experience has given me understanding. Even past difficulty can become useful wisdom. Nothing is wasted when it is placed in divine order. Every skill I have developed can be used. Every lesson I have learned can serve me. Every relationship can reveal something. Every honest effort can become part of a greater pattern. I am willing to see my resources clearly. I possess abilities. I possess experience. I possess knowledge. I possess creativity. I possess the power to learn. I possess the ability to ask for help. I possess the capacity to make new decisions. I possess the courage to begin again. I am not empty. I am not powerless. Divine intelligence lives and works through me. As I rest, my mind becomes quiet enough to receive the next right idea. The idea may be simple. I will not reject it because it appears small. A simple idea, faithfully acted upon, may become a great channel of good. I listen. I recognize. I respond. My intuition is calm and clear. I distinguish intuition from fear. Fear shouts and repeats disaster. Guidance is steady. Fear demands immediate panic. Guidance reveals the next right step. Fear tells me I have no choice. Guidance reminds me that wisdom creates options. I choose guidance. I choose clarity. I choose peace. Money is a tool. Money is not my master. Money is not my enemy. Money can support shelter, nourishment, education, healing, creativity, generosity, and freedom. I use money in ways that honor life. I receive it honestly. I spend it wisely. I save it consistently. I invest it carefully. I give it joyfully when guided. I do not hoard from terror. I do not waste from emptiness. I allow money to circulate through my life under wisdom and grace. I am becoming trustworthy with greater abundance. I am prepared to receive more because I am willing to manage more. My prosperity blesses my household. My prosperity creates stability. My prosperity allows me to help others without destroying myself. My prosperity supports meaningful work. My prosperity gives me choices. My prosperity becomes an instrument of good. I release guilt about desiring financial peace. There is nothing noble in constant panic. There is nothing spiritually superior about being unable to meet necessary obligations. Peaceful provision allows me to serve with a clearer heart. I seek prosperity that harms no one. I seek success that does not require deception. I seek increase that is consistent with integrity. I seek the good that belongs to me under grace. I do not take what belongs to another. I do not need to manipulate. I do not need to compete in fear. I offer value. I walk in honesty. I trust divine law. I am worthy of respect. I am worthy of fair treatment. I am worthy of appropriate compensation. My worth is not created by a bank balance. My spiritual worth is already complete. From this secure foundation, I develop practical value. I improve my skills. I keep my agreements. I communicate clearly. I respect time. I solve problems. I create useful results. I become easier to trust because I act with consistency. Prosperity consciousness expresses itself through character. I welcome discipline. Discipline does not imprison me. Right discipline protects my future. I look at my finances with calm attention. I know what comes in. I know what goes out. I make decisions based on truth rather than avoidance. I release unnecessary leakage. I honor what I already have. Gratitude and stewardship prepare the way for increase. I am grateful for every amount now present. I do not insult a small beginning. I bless the money in my possession. I direct it wisely. I am grateful for the income I receive. I am grateful for every person who values my work. I am grateful for every skill that supports me. I am grateful for the roof above me. I am grateful for food. I am grateful for rest. I am grateful for the capacity to learn and change. Gratitude opens my eyes to existing wealth. From appreciation, I recognize more. From recognition, I use more wisely. From wise use, greater good can safely enter. I am becoming peaceful. My breathing is calm. My forehead is smooth. My shoulders are loose. My hands are resting. My heart is released from the burden of solving everything tonight. The deeper mind receives the word of faith. Old images of disaster fade. Old conversations lose their power. Old labels fall away. I am not the failure I once feared I was. I am not the mistake I once made. I am not the debt I am resolving. I am not the rejection I experienced. I am not the opportunity I missed. I am a living expression of divine intelligence, still capable of growth, renewal, correction, and inspired action. My past is forgiven. My present is empowered. My future is open. I am willing to prosper in a new way. I do not need to reproduce another person's path. My path is revealed step by step. The right idea comes. The right contact appears. The right preparation is made. The right habit is established. The right conversation occurs. The right decision becomes clear. I am led into my appointed place. I am never required to know the entire route before taking the next step. The way is made clear before me. The way is made clear before me. The way is made clear before me. Divine order now arranges what I cannot arrange through strain. I release the timing. I release the channel. I release the need to control every detail. I maintain faith. I maintain awareness. I maintain integrity. I take right action when it is revealed. My good may arrive through expected sources. My good may arrive through unexpected sources. It may come through improved work. It may come through a new client. It may come through an idea. It may come through collaboration. It may come through education. It may come through an expense that is wisely removed. It may come through money that is returned. It may come through a burden that is restructured. It may come through a door I have not yet considered. I do not limit infinite intelligence. I remain open. I remain wise. I remain grateful. I am wealthy in consciousness. I am rich in ideas. I am abundant in possibility. I am supported by divine wisdom. My inner peace is becoming outer order. My clear thought is becoming clear action. My clear action is creating better results. I welcome this process. I do not demand instant proof. I trust the seed beneath the soil. I trust the dawn while the sky is still dark. I trust that unseen preparation may be occurring. Tonight is not wasted. Rest is renewing me. Faith is restoring me. Right words are strengthening me. Divine guidance is preparing me. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. I am blessed. I am guided. I am divinely provided for. Now sleep may come whenever it wishes. You do not need to follow every sentence. Allow the words to move softly beneath the edge of awareness. Rest in the assurance that you are not alone. Rest in the knowledge that one difficult chapter does not define the whole story. Rest in the understanding that divine order can use people, ideas, opportunities, wisdom, discipline, courage, and unexpected channels to open a new way. Tonight, you have changed the word placed at the doorway of sleep. You are no longer placing fear there. You are placing faith. You are placing peace. You are placing receptivity. You are placing the quiet declaration. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Let that be your final conscious thought. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Again, I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. And so it begins. Your body is now becoming heavier and more peaceful. With every breath, the muscles release a little more of the tension they have carried. The forehead softens. The jaw relaxes. The shoulders no longer need to hold the burdens of the day. The hands become still. The heart begins to remember that rest is safe. Beneath this quiet surface, an important transformation is taking place. Old financial fears are no longer being fed by your attention. Old declarations of scarcity are losing their authority. The beliefs you once repeated unconsciously are being brought into the light, where they can be released and replaced. You are no longer required to live according to a message you received years ago. You are no longer required to agree with every fear inherited from your family, your culture, your past experiences, or your former circumstances. You may honor those who came before you without repeating their limitations. You may forgive the past without carrying it forward. You may say gently, I release every belief that tells me prosperity is not for me. I release the fear that money must always arrive through struggle. I release the expectation of loss. I release the belief that every good thing will eventually be taken away. I release the shame attached to receiving. I release the guilt attached to succeeding. I forgive myself for every decision I made before I possessed greater wisdom. I forgive those who passed their fear to me unknowingly. I am free to choose a new consciousness. Your mind is becoming a clear and welcoming place for prosperity. Your consciousness is no longer a closed room filled with yesterday's voices. The windows are opening. Fresh understanding is entering. New possibilities are becoming visible. The old pattern may still speak occasionally, but you no longer have to obey it. You can hear fear and still choose faith. You can see a difficult circumstance and still choose right thought. You can acknowledge a temporary limitation without turning it into a permanent law. You can say, this condition is present, but it is not final. This number is information, but it is not my identity. This delay is real, but it does not mean the way is closed. This challenge asks for wisdom, not panic. Divine intelligence is greater than the appearance before me. Every repetition of a new idea strengthens the path toward it. Every evening you choose peaceful expectancy over anxiety, you are becoming more familiar with abundance. Every morning you rise and take one wise action, you are proving that consciousness and conduct can work together. You are not waiting passively for life to change. You are becoming available to participate in the change. Money comes to you through channels of value, wisdom, service, creativity, organization, cooperation, and inspired action. Abundance does not require you to remain inactive. It releases you from meaningless struggle so that the right action can become clear. There is a difference between effort and strain. Effort may be joyful. Effort may be focused. Effort may be purposeful. Strain is the belief that everything depends upon fear, force, and personal control. Tonight, you release strain. You keep your willingness. You keep your discipline. You keep your integrity. You keep your readiness to act. But you no longer believe that anxiety is necessary for success. You no longer treat exhaustion as proof of worthiness. You no longer assume that suffering must be the price of every blessing. You say, I work in harmony with divine intelligence. I am guided toward effective action. I use my energy wisely. I am productive without becoming consumed. I rest without guilt. I receive ideas in peace. I complete what is mine to complete. I release what is not mine to carry. My prosperity is forming now through right consciousness and right action. The breakthrough does not begin only when money appears. The breakthrough begins when the old pattern loses control. It begins when you respond differently. It begins when you stop avoiding the truth. It begins when you forgive yourself. It begins when you ask for help. It begins when you recognize an opportunity. It begins when you decide that your future will not be a repetition of your past. The visible result may still be developing, but the cause has already begun to change. And when the cause changes, the effect cannot remain the same forever. Let me tell you another story. There was once a man who had known prosperity. He had built a successful business through many years of dedication. His work supported his family comfortably. He had savings. He had social standing. He had the confidence that comes from having faced problems and solved them. For a long time, he believed his security rested upon what he had built. Then, the economy changed. Customers who had once purchased his services could no longer afford them. Contracts disappeared. Payments slowed. Expenses continued even as revenue declined. At first, he believed the downturn would be temporary. He used his savings to maintain the business. He borrowed to cover obligations. He reduced prices. He worked longer hours. He tried one strategy after another, but the market continued to weaken. What had taken years to build seemed to collapse within months. His savings vanished. The business failed. His confidence failed with it. He did not experience the loss merely as a financial event. He experienced it as the destruction of his identity. When people asked how he was doing, he felt ashamed. When he saw others prospering, he felt bitter. When he remembered the life he once had, he felt anger toward himself and the world. He replayed every decision. He asked himself repeatedly where he had gone wrong. He imagined that one different choice might have saved everything, but the past would not answer him. At night, his body lay in bed, while his mind returned to the ruins of his business. He remembered the clients who left. He remembered the bills he could not pay. He remembered the day he closed the doors. He imagined future humiliation. He imagined his family losing their home. He imagined never recovering. He imagined meeting people who had known him in better days and seeing pity in their eyes. He had once possessed money, but now he was possessed by fear. He had once directed a business, but now regret directed him. Each sleepless night deepened the belief that his life was over. Eventually, he encountered the same spiritual principle you are practicing tonight. He was told to stop using the nighttime hours as a courtroom in which he endlessly prosecuted himself for the past. He was told to place the burden in divine order before sleep. He was taught to declare, "I release this burden from my limited mind." Divine intelligence knows the way of restoration. What has been lost in form cannot diminish the infinite supply within spirit. My value remains. My wisdom remains. My capacity to create remains. I am guided toward a new and greater expression of prosperity. I am open to an opportunity beyond the pattern I have known. My good is restored under grace, in perfect ways. He was also asked to fall asleep, repeating, "I am blessed. I am rich in divine ideas. I am divinely provided for." At first, he resisted. The words seemed absurd. He had lost his business. His accounts were nearly empty. He was facing obligations he did not know how to meet. To declare prosperity in such a condition seemed to him like denial. He believed spiritual teaching was asking him to pretend that nothing had happened. But he was not being asked to deny the loss. He was being asked not to make the loss the final truth about his life. The failure of one business did not mean that his capacity had failed. The disappearance of one source of income did not mean that all supply had disappeared. The end of one form did not mean that divine intelligence had reached the end of its ideas. His empty account was a condition. His creative capacity was a resource. His experience was a resource. His relationships were resources. His ability to learn was a resource. His willingness to begin again was a resource. His connection to divine intelligence was a resource no economic crash could destroy. This understanding began to change his perspective. He realized he had been staring at the effect while forgetting the cause. His former prosperity had not come from the building, the contracts, or the name of the company alone. It had come through ideas, decisions, courage, service, cooperation, and value. Those qualities had been expressed through the old business, but they were not imprisoned within it. The form had disappeared. The consciousness that once created value could be restored. He did not yet know what the new form would be, but he became willing to believe that another form existed. That night, exhausted from months of anxiety, he finally agreed to practice. He spoke the declaration slowly. The words felt unfamiliar. Some felt empty. Others awakened pain. When he said, "My value remains," part of him wanted to argue. When he said, "I am guided toward restoration," his mind demanded to know how. When he said, "I am divinely provided for," the evidence of the day rose before him. But instead of debating, he continued, "I am blessed. I am rich in divine ideas. I am divinely provided for." Again, "I am blessed. I am rich in divine ideas. I am divinely provided for." He did not try to manufacture excitement. He did not force himself to feel wealthy. He simply allowed the words to replace the mental images of ruin that usually carried him into the night. For the first time in many months, he slept deeply. The next morning, nothing in his financial condition had changed, but he had rested. That rest created a little space between him and despair. He continued the practice. Every night, he surrendered the burden. Every night, he refused to conduct another trial over the past. Every night, he returned to the words of provision, wisdom, and restoration. During the first days, the principal change was sleep. Then, his emotional state began to soften. He was still concerned, but no longer constantly overwhelmed. He could speak about the failed business without feeling as though he were reliving its collapse. He began to separate the event from his identity. He could say, "The business failed." He no longer said, "I am a failure." That distinction restored power. An event can be examined. An identity feels permanent. Once he stopped naming himself according to the loss, he became more willing to learn from it. He reviewed what had happened with greater objectivity. He recognized decisions he would not repeat. He identified services customers had valued most. He noticed changes in the market that his old business had failed to address. Ideas began to return. At first they were small and incomplete. He wrote them down without judgment. He did not demand that the first idea become the final answer. He allowed divine intelligence to reveal the pattern gradually. After approximately 2 weeks, his mornings felt different. He no longer awoke beneath an immediate cloud of dread. He began the day expecting that something useful might occur. Because he expected usefulness, he noticed it. A conversation with a former customer revealed an unmet need. A contact mentioned a growing area of work the man had previously dismissed. He studied the possibility. He realized that many of the abilities from his former business could be used in a new way, with lower expenses and greater flexibility. He did not attempt to rebuild the exact structure he had lost. He allowed a new structure to emerge. This is important. Sometimes, restoration does not mean receiving the old form again. Sometimes the old form was too limited for the consciousness now developing. Sometimes what appears to be a return is actually an advance. The man began a modest new venture. He did not have the resources to begin on the scale of his former company. He started with what was available. One service, a small group of clients, a simple workspace, lower overhead, clearer agreements, better financial discipline. He was no longer attempting to impress people with appearances. He was building from wisdom. The new business began to grow. Within several months, he had recovered a meaningful portion of his income. Within a longer period, he became more financially stable than he had been before the collapse. The new prosperity felt different. It was not based only on external success. It rested upon a consciousness that had survived loss and discovered its own source again. He understood that a building could be lost, a market could change, a customer could leave, a contract could end, but his connection to divine ideas could not be taken from him. When he spoke of his transformation, he said in essence, "I had believed my wealth lived in my business. When the business disappeared, I believed my wealth had disappeared. But the true source was consciousness. The business was one expression. When I restored the consciousness of value, guidance, and possibility, another expression appeared. I did not have to chase every opportunity. I became quiet enough to recognize the right one. I did not force the old structure back into existence. I allowed a wiser form to emerge. My outer world changed after my inner state changed. This is the spiritual law beneath the story. Consciousness is cause. Circumstances are effect. The inner state gives direction to perception, decision, action, persistence, and expectation. Change the cause, and the effect begins to reorganize. This does not mean you should blame yourself for every hardship. It does not mean that all suffering is consciously chosen. It means that wherever your power can be restored, it begins with the consciousness from which you meet the condition. Fear sees only repetition. Faith sees possibility. Shame hides. Wisdom examines. Despair gives up. Guidance takes the next step. Bitterness remains bound to the past. Forgiveness releases energy for the future. Therefore, declare tonight, I am wealthy in consciousness. I am rich in divine ideas. My value cannot be destroyed by changing circumstances. I am more than one job, one business, one opportunity, or one result. I am connected to infinite intelligence. The right form of my prosperity is revealed. I am patient with the unfolding process. I am faithful to the vision. I learn from the past without returning to it. I permit a greater pattern to emerge. All is well. All is guided. All is moving toward right order. And so it is. Your deeper mind remains active even as the conscious mind grows quiet. While your body rests, the experiences of the day are being processed. Memories are being organized. Emotions are being integrated. Problems that seemed tangled may begin to separate into simpler parts. Ideas may combine in new ways. This is why you do not have to force an answer tonight. You may place the question before divine intelligence and allow the quiet mind to receive. Say inwardly, divine intelligence, reveal the next right step. Then release the question. Do not demand an immediate response. Do not repeat the problem with anxiety. Allow silence to become part of the prayer. The transition into sleep is sacred because the conscious mind is becoming less occupied with defense. It no longer needs to control every impression. You can use this gentle interval to fill your inner world with images and words that support wise prosperity. Many people enter sleep carrying financial conflict. They replay an argument. They calculate what they lack. They imagine losing what they still possess. They mentally spend money they do not yet have. They rehearse rejection. They prepare emotionally for events that may never occur. Then they awaken with the same nervous system, prepared to find danger. Tonight, you are choosing another practice. You are teaching your mind to rest in possibility. You are not ignoring reality. You are selecting the consciousness from which you will meet reality tomorrow. Let the following declarations move through you without effort. I attract relationships that support my highest financial good. I meet honest, prosperous, and generous people. I recognize wise teachers. I learn from those who have walked farther along the path. I welcome counsel without surrendering my own discernment. I am surrounded by people who respect growth. We celebrate one another's success. We share ideas without jealousy. We create opportunities that bless everyone involved. My relationships are channels of encouragement, wisdom, and cooperation. I give value to my network, and my network returns value to me. You do not need to use people for financial gain. You do not need to approach relationships with hidden demands. True prosperity relationships are based upon mutual respect. You listen. You contribute. You keep confidence. You honor agreements. You introduce people when it is beneficial. You share useful knowledge. You celebrate another person's progress without feeling diminished. When you become genuinely interested in creating good for others, relationships begin to carry a new quality. Trust develops, and where trust develops, cooperation becomes possible. You release the belief that you must succeed alone. You are allowed to receive instruction. You are allowed to collaborate. You are allowed to ask a question. You are allowed to admit what you do not know. Humility is not poverty consciousness. Humility keeps the mind teachable. You say, I am open to wisdom. I recognize the person who can teach me. I am willing to become the person who can teach another. Knowledge circulates through me. Opportunity circulates through me. Goodwill circulates through me. Your home is becoming a place of abundance. Abundance in the home does not always mean luxury. It means order. It means care. It means gratitude. It means creating beauty with what is available. It means removing what no longer serves. It means honoring the space in which you live. It means allowing your environment to support rest, creativity, and wise action. Look upon your home with appreciation. Bless the door through which you enter. Bless the bed that receives your body. Bless the table where food is shared. Bless the water, the light, the clothing, the tools, and the objects that serve you. Even when you desire improvement, do not insult what currently supports you. Gratitude is not the abandonment of ambition. It is the recognition of good before more good appears. Sigh. My home is filled with peace. My home is protected by divine order. My home reflects beauty, stability, and care. I bless everything within it. I am grateful for the shelter I possess. I am guided toward every improvement that is right for me. My environment supports prosperity. My home is a place where wise ideas are born. Your work is also being blessed. Whether you are employed, self-employed, building something new, seeking an opportunity, or recovering from a setback, divine intelligence can guide you. You are not invisible. Your contribution matters. Your ability to solve problems has value. Your reliability has value. Your creativity has value. Your ability to communicate has value. Your experience has value. Your willingness to learn has value. You no longer ask only, who will give me money? You ask, what useful good am I prepared to express? What need can I meet? What difficulty can I help resolve? What result can I create? What responsibility am I ready to carry? Compensation often follows value clearly expressed and consistently delivered. Therefore, let your prosperity consciousness strengthen your work ethic rather than weaken it. You do not become careless because you believe in supply. You become more faithful. You understand that opportunity may arrive disguised as a responsibility. You respect the work before you. You complete tasks with attention. You become known for integrity. You say what you will do. You do what you have said. You correct mistakes. You ask fair compensation. You do not apologize for the value you create. You no longer accept exploitation as proof of goodness. You can be generous and still maintain healthy boundaries. You can serve and still be compensated. You can care about others and still honor your own needs. Declare, my work is recognized. My contribution is valued. I am appropriately compensated. I communicate my value with clarity. I negotiate calmly and confidently. I do not diminish myself to make others comfortable. I do not exaggerate my abilities. I stand in honest worth. The right people recognize what I offer. My career and business are governed by divine order. Money may come through familiar channels. It may come through salary. It may come through business revenue. It may come through commissions, contracts, royalties, or partnerships. It may come through a promotion. It may come through a service you have not yet offered. It may come through a skill you have not yet developed fully. It may also come through unexpected correction, a refund, an error resolved in your favor, a debt repaid, an unnecessary expense removed, an asset sold wisely, a new arrangement that leaves more available each month. Do not decide that supply must arrive only as a dramatic windfall. Prosperity sometimes enters as money received. Sometimes it enters as money no longer lost. Sometimes it enters as wisdom that prevents an expensive mistake. Sometimes it enters as health restored, allowing you to work again. Sometimes it enters as time reclaimed. Sometimes it enters as a relationship healed. Sometimes it enters as an idea that continues producing value for years. Remain open to every honest form. Sigh. I do not limit the channel of my good. Divine supply reaches me through expected and unexpected ways. I recognize increase. I recognize protection. I recognize saving. I recognize opportunity. I recognize wisdom as wealth. I recognize time as wealth. I recognize health as wealth. I recognize peace as wealth. You are becoming peaceful with money. You do not need to think about it constantly. You do not need to check repeatedly from fear. You do not need to avoid it entirely. You can review your finances at the proper time and then return your attention to life. Money is part of your experience. It is not the whole of your experience. You are more than what you earn. You are more than what you own. Yet because you are more than money, you can handle money without making it your god or your enemy. Inner peace opens the channel. Clear intention gives direction. Wise action gives form. Together they create a stable expression of prosperity. Your prosperity also touches the people you love. As you become financially wiser, you interrupt patterns that may have continued through generations. Perhaps fear surrounding money has existed in your family for a long time. Perhaps every generation repeated the same sentence: "We never have enough." Perhaps money was gained and quickly lost. Perhaps no one was taught how to save. Perhaps debt was hidden. Perhaps prosperity created conflict. Perhaps children learned anxiety from hearing adults argue. Tonight, you begin another pattern. You do not need to condemn your family. You bless them. You understand that many did the best they could with the knowledge and conditions available. Then you choose to carry the family story in a new direction. You learn, you plan, you communicate. You save, you create, you give, you teach without shaming. You help the next generation understand that money is a responsibility and a tool. You show them that worth does not depend upon possession. You show them that generosity and wisdom can exist together. You show them that abundance is not reckless consumption. You show them that financial peace can be created through consciousness, discipline, education, and right action. Sigh. I release generational fear. I bless my ancestors and free myself from repeating their limitations. I establish a new pattern of wisdom. My prosperity blesses those who come after me. I create stability. I create opportunity. I create knowledge that can be passed forward. I am a peaceful and responsible steward. The decisions I make today become a gift to the future. Your wealth consciousness expands beyond money. You are abundant in health. You are abundant in thought. You are abundant in love. You are abundant in creativity. You are abundant in the ability to begin again. Financial prosperity supports the whole life. It gives you access to nourishing food, appropriate care, education, rest, travel, creativity, and meaningful experience. It may allow you to spend more time with those you love. It may allow you to support a cause. It may allow you to leave an environment that harms you. It may allow you to choose work that expresses your gifts. Therefore, you do not seek money as an empty symbol. You seek the freedom, stability, usefulness, and opportunity it can represent when guided wisely. Your prosperity serves life. Your prosperity serves peace. Your prosperity serves purpose. Money moves through circulation. It enters. It is directed. It is saved. It is invested. It is exchanged for value. it is given. It returns through new channels. Fear may attempt to stop the flow completely. It may say, "Hold everything, because nothing more will come." But wisdom knows the difference between saving and hoarding. Saving is guided preparation. Hoarding is fear without trust. Spending is not always circulation. Careless spending may be another expression of fear. Wise circulation is conscious. You know why money is moving. You know what purpose it serves. You give from guidance, not from pressure. You spend from clarity, not emotional escape. You save from wisdom, not terror. You invest only with appropriate understanding. You say, "I am a clear channel for prosperity. I receive abundantly. I direct money wisely. I allow good to circulate through me. I do not block the flow through fear. I do not waste the flow through unconsciousness." Every financial decision is guided by wisdom. Your confidence is growing. Challenges may still arise, but you no longer interpret them as proof that prosperity has abandoned you. You are resourceful. You are resilient. You can adjust. You can learn. You can seek information. You can create a new plan. You can recover. The source of your prosperity is not one circumstance that can be taken away. It is the consciousness that remains able to receive ideas and take right action. Tonight, your mind receives this new identity. You are capable. You are teachable. You are guided. You are responsible. You are abundant. You are becoming a person who can create, receive, preserve, and circulate wealth with wisdom. Sleep peacefully. Your good is not running away from you. The right opportunity does not require panic. The right path will still be present when you awaken rested and clear. All is well. All is guided. All is abundant. You are blessed beyond measure. You are safe to rest. I am a magnet for prosperity because my consciousness is aligned with value, wisdom, and divine supply. Wealth flows toward me through natural and harmonious channels. I do not force. I do not chase in desperation. I become receptive. I become useful. I become clear. My income is capable of increasing. New sources of revenue can appear. New ideas can be developed. New abilities can be learned. I do not place a ceiling upon the good that may enter my life. My subconscious mind is learning a new pattern. It is learning to expect solutions. It is learning to notice opportunity. It is learning to choose actions that support prosperity. It is learning to reject habits that create unnecessary loss. It is learning to guide me towards stability rather than chaos. As this new pattern strengthens, wise behavior becomes more natural. I begin to notice possibilities that once appeared invisible. I feel prompted to organize what I avoided. I become willing to discuss what I feared. I ask better questions. I make clearer agreements. I protect my time. I direct my attention toward work that matters. I understand that a new financial life is not created by words alone. Words establish direction. Consciousness creates receptivity. Then action gives the new consciousness physical expression. I speak wealthy words. I think prosperous thoughts. I take responsible actions. I become the person capable of sustaining what I request. Think of your subconscious mind as a vast garden. For many years, seeds have been placed within it. Some were planted by loving people who were frightened. Some were planted by authority figures who misunderstood wealth. Some were planted through difficult experiences. Some were planted by your own repeated speech. A sentence spoken once may leave little impression. A sentence repeated with emotion becomes a seed watered daily. Perhaps the garden received seeds such as, "Money is always difficult. I am unlucky. Nothing works for me. I will never escape debt. I do not deserve success. I am not intelligent enough. I always lose what I gain. People will reject me if I prosper." Over time, these ideas produced thought patterns. The thought patterns influenced choices. The choices produced results. The results appeared to prove the original belief. Thus, the garden continued reproducing the same crop, but a garden can be renewed. The soil does not refuse a new seed because an old plant once grew there. Tonight, you plant. Money can come through value and right action. I am guided toward increasing income. I am capable of learning. I am worthy of prosperity. I can create stability. I can make wise decisions. I can recover from mistakes. I am supported by divine intelligence. I welcome success that blesses everyone concerned. Do not become discouraged if old plants remain visible for a time. A new seed begins below the surface. Its first work is invisible. It forms roots before it forms leaves. Likewise, your first change may be invisible to others. You may become calmer. You may feel more deserving. You may notice a thought you once missed. You may stop yourself before repeating a harmful statement. You may choose not to make an emotional purchase. You may finally open a financial document you had avoided. These are roots. Do not uproot them through impatience. Continue watering them. Continue speaking the word. Continue making the right choice. During 21 nights of consistent practice, you are repeatedly turning your attention toward a different garden. You are not merely hoping that prosperity will grow. You are creating conditions that support it. You are worthy of abundance simply because your spiritual value is inherent. You do not have to suffer to prove that you deserve to exist. You do not have to exhaust yourself to earn love. You do not have to become another person before you are allowed to receive good. You are enough in spiritual worth now. And because your worth is secure, you are free to develop your abilities without using achievement to prove your existence. You learn because growth is joyful. You serve because value wishes to express through you. You prosper because greater resources allow greater good to be accomplished. Sigh, my worth is inherent. My value cannot be reduced by temporary conditions. I do not struggle to prove that I deserve good. I accept my divine inheritance of wisdom, peace, and provision. I am willing to be prosperous beyond my present imagination. I receive with gratitude. I use with wisdom. I circulate with joy. Now imagine your ideal financial condition. Do not strain to create every detail. Allow an image to arise gently. See yourself opening your financial account and feeling peaceful. There is enough. Obligations are met. Savings are increasing. You are not frightened by every unexpected expense. You have space to breathe. You can make decisions based upon wisdom rather than immediate survival. See yourself paying bills calmly. You bless every payment. You understand that the payment represents shelter, service, electricity, transportation, knowledge, protection, or something that has supported your life. You no longer curse money as it leaves. You direct it with gratitude. You say, I bless this money, and release it for a useful purpose. Divine supply replenishes every right expenditure. I am grateful that I can meet this obligation. See yourself saving. You experience no sense of deprivation. You understand that saving is a gift from your present self to your future self. Each amount placed aside becomes evidence of growing stability. See yourself investing wisely only after receiving proper knowledge and guidance. You do not act from greed. You do not follow excitement blindly. You do not risk what is needed for necessary living. You proceed carefully, calmly, and intelligently. See yourself giving from overflow. Perhaps you help someone privately. Perhaps you support a meaningful cause. Perhaps you create work for another person. Perhaps you share education, time, or resources. You do not give to prove your goodness. You give because good is circulating. Feel the peace of this image. The feeling is important, not because emotion alone replaces practical action, but because your emotional state influences what you expect and what you permit. A person who believes prosperity is dangerous may push it away. A person who believes money creates guilt may sabotage increase. A person who feels unworthy may undercharge, hide, or refuse opportunities. Tonight, you become emotionally available for the good you seek. Sigh, it is safe for me to prosper. It is safe for me to receive. It is safe for me to manage greater responsibility. It is safe for me to be seen succeeding. My prosperity does not separate me from those I love. My prosperity allows me to love with greater freedom. I remain humble, generous, and grounded as I increase. Your financial success can benefit others. When you prosper, you can purchase from another person's business. You can employ someone. You can pay fairly. You can contribute to your community. You can support family without destroying your own stability. You can fund creativity. You can share knowledge. You can become evidence that prosperity and integrity can exist together. You do not apologize for receiving good that has come through honest value. You are grateful for the privilege and conscious of the responsibility. Your thoughts are seeds. Your words water them. Your emotions provide atmosphere. Your behavior reveals what you truly believe. Therefore, guard your speech. When you hear yourself say, "I cannot afford this," pause. Perhaps the accurate sentence is, "This is not my present priority. I am choosing not to purchase this now. I am preparing for this in the right time. I am open to a harmonious way of receiving what is needed." These words acknowledge the present without declaring permanent inability. When you hear yourself say, "I am broke," pause. Say instead, "I am reorganizing my financial life. I am increasing my awareness. I am open to new income. I am guided toward stability." The purpose is not to hide facts. The purpose is to stop turning a temporary figure into a destructive identity. You think wealthy thoughts. You speak wealthy words. You take wealthy actions. A wealthy action may be saving a small amount. A wealthy action may be saying no to an unnecessary expense. A wealthy action may be learning a useful skill. A wealthy action may be arriving on time. A wealthy action may be following up with a potential client. A wealthy action may be completing unfinished work. A wealthy action may be seeking qualified advice. A wealthy action may be resting so that your judgment is clear. You are developing the character that can hold prosperity. You become patient. You become consistent. You become honest. You become willing to delay immediate pleasure for a greater goal. You become able to enjoy the present without sacrificing the future. You learn something about money regularly. You replace shame with education. You replace avoidance with understanding. You replace fantasy with a plan. You replace fear with faith-filled action. Your mind is integrating these ideas while you rest. Old patterns are being questioned. New patterns are being practiced. Night after night, the new inner path becomes easier to follow. Money is like water in circulation. It must be directed. Water without direction may flood. Water completely blocked may become stagnant. Water wisely channeled nourishes fields, cleanses, supports life, and generates power. In the same way, money directed by wisdom becomes useful. You are a channel, not a dam, but you are also not an open pipe through which everything disappears without purpose. You receive. You direct, you preserve, you circulate, you say, "I receive abundantly, I give thoughtfully, I spend wisely, I save faithfully, I invest carefully, I allow money to serve life. My prosperity is balanced." Your breakthrough may be nearer than you realize. It may appear through an opportunity already moving toward you. It may appear as a conversation. It may appear as a business idea. It may appear as a promotion. It may appear as an invitation to learn. It may appear through a realization about what must change. When it comes, you are prepared to recognize it. You do not allow fear to make the decision before wisdom has spoken. You do not reject the opportunity merely because it requires growth. You also do not accept every opportunity merely because it promises money. You ask, "Is this aligned with integrity? Does this create real value? Is this wise for my present condition? Do I understand the risk? Does peace remain after the excitement settles?" Divine guidance and practical discernment work together. You trust timing. You release force. You do not need to create the opportunity through anxiety. You align with prosperity consciousness and remain ready to respond. You are in the right place at the right time for the good appointed to you. You recognize what belongs to you. You have within you qualities associated with prosperity. Confidence can be strengthened. Vision can become clearer. Courage can grow. Persistence can be practiced. Generosity can deepen. These qualities may feel dormant, but they are present. Over the 21 nights, you give them permission to awaken. Sigh. I embody prosperity in thought, word, and action. I am confident in the value I create. I see a meaningful future. I take calculated and intelligent risks. I remain persistent when challenges appear. I learn from every setback. I adjust without abandoning my purpose. I am generous with wisdom and resources. I see possibilities where fear once showed only obstacles. I move when guidance says move. I wait when wisdom says wait. I celebrate progress. I continue. Your relationship with money is being healed. Whatever happened before does not have to govern what happens next. You may have grown up around scarcity. You may have witnessed arguments. You may have been taught that money corrupts every person who possesses it. You may have failed in the past. You may have trusted someone unwisely. You may have spent from pain. You may have avoided necessary decisions. You may have used money to seek approval. You may have given too much and resented it. You may have refused help and suffered alone. All of this can be healed. You say, I release the emotional charge of the past. I forgive myself. I forgive others. I learn without remaining imprisoned. I create a new relationship with prosperity. Money is a tool and an ally under wisdom. I honor it, and I use it honorably. I no longer fear the subject of money. I bring light, truth, and order to my finances. Imagine waking with financial peace. The bills are being handled. Savings are growing. Your work is fruitful. Your investments, if appropriate for you, are guided by wisdom. You have time for meaningful living. You can choose without constant panic. How does that feel? Feel the spaciousness. Feel the steadiness. Feel the gratitude. Let the emotional state of peace become familiar now. You do not wait until everything is perfect before permitting yourself to breathe. You breathe now. You do not wait until every obligation is gone before practicing gratitude. You practice gratitude now. You do not wait until the future arrives before becoming receptive to joy. You become receptive now. This is not denial. It is preparation. You are teaching the nervous system that prosperity and peace can exist together. You are teaching the mind that money does not always have to produce fear. You are becoming emotionally compatible with the condition you desire. Rest in this feeling. You are safe. You are supported. You are guided. Your relationship with prosperity is being healed at the deepest level. When you awaken tomorrow morning, remain still for a few moments before reaching for your phone or returning to the concerns of the day. Before opening your eyes, notice the bed supporting you. Notice the breath entering and leaving. Notice that a new day has been given. Then spend a few quiet moments in gratitude. Give thanks for the shelter around you. Give thanks for the food available to you. Give thanks for the people who care for you. Give thanks for your knowledge. Give thanks for your hands, your voice, your experience, and your ability to learn. Give thanks for the money currently present, regardless of the amount. A small amount blessed and directed wisely can become the beginning of a greater pattern. Do not postpone gratitude until the number reaches a certain level. Gratitude is not payment for receiving everything you desire. It is a way of recognizing the good already present so that you no longer move through life blind to resources. Whatever you consistently appreciate becomes more visible to you. As good becomes more visible, you use it more consciously. As you use it more consciously, it becomes capable of multiplying. Say in the morning, I am grateful for the abundance already present. I appreciate every honest source of income. I bless the money I possess. I treasure my skills, knowledge, relationships, and opportunities. I recognize that I am already wealthy in many meaningful ways. From this foundation of gratitude, I welcome increase. There is a profound difference between wishing and knowing. Wishing says, I would like prosperity, but I am uncertain whether it belongs to me. Wishing keeps the desired good at a distance. It imagines abundance as something that may arrive in a remote future if circumstances become perfect. It often contains a hidden sentence. I do not truly expect this. Knowing is different. Knowing is a deep spiritual certainty. It does not need to shout. It does not require constant emotional excitement. It is quiet. It is settled. It says, divine law is working even before I see the complete result. Knowing is not stubborn insistence that one specific event must occur exactly as demanded. True knowing remains open to the form divine wisdom selects. It does not say, this one person must give me the opportunity. It says, the right opportunity is available to me. It does not say, money must arrive through this single channel. It says, divine supply has many channels. It does not say, my plan can never change. It says, the right plan is revealed. Knowing contains certainty without rigidity. It trusts the principle while remaining flexible about the form. You know that when consciousness changes, perception and action change. You know that when perception and action change consistently, results can change. You know that gratitude reveals resources. You know that wisdom prevents unnecessary loss. You know that value honestly created can be compensated. You know that divine intelligence can produce ideas beyond what fear can imagine. Therefore, you do not merely wish for prosperity. You know that you are capable of participating in its creation. Sigh, I know that divine intelligence guides me. I know that my value can be expressed. I know that opportunities exist beyond what I currently see. I know that my mind is becoming receptive. I know that my actions are becoming wiser. I know that my prosperity is taking form through divine order. I do not beg. I do not chase. I know. Your knowing may begin as a small inner steadiness. Protect it. Do not test it every hour. Do not speak against it whenever appearances fluctuate. Return to it. A ship may be moved by surface waves while still holding its direction. In the same way, emotions may rise and fall while spiritual knowing remains beneath them. You may have a difficult day and still know that the path is opening. You may face a delay and still know that guidance is present. You may receive a rejection and still know that your value remains. You may make a mistake and still know that you can correct it. Knowing is not the absence of all temporary doubt. It is the decision to return repeatedly to the deeper truth. Your brain and mind are constantly filtering experience. Every moment, more information surrounds you than conscious attention can process. Your beliefs influence what you notice. When you expect only scarcity, you may see evidence of limitation everywhere. You notice the closed door. You overlook the open window. You remember every rejection. You dismiss every encouraging sign. You see someone else's success and interpret it as proof that you are behind. You encounter an idea and immediately explain why it cannot work. This is not because opportunity is completely absent. It may be because the mind has been trained to filter according to fear. When you repeatedly establish beliefs of possibility, value, and guidance, the filter begins to change. You start noticing useful information. You hear a phrase in a conversation that connects with an idea. You recognize that a skill you consider ordinary is valuable to someone else. You notice a change in your industry. You become aware of a course, contact, service, or need that was present before but did not enter your conscious attention. The world may not have changed in that exact moment. Your capacity to perceive it has changed. This is one practical expression of renewed consciousness. Affirmations are not merely pleasant sentences. Repeated wisely, they direct attention. They establish expectation. They challenge automatic conclusions. They help prepare the mind to recognize what aligns with the new pattern. Therefore, say, I see opportunities for value everywhere. My mind is tuned to useful ideas. My perception is open. I notice what supports prosperity. I recognize connections. I ask intelligent questions. I see possibilities that fear once filtered out. I am alert without becoming anxious. I recognize my good and respond confidently. As you continue through the 21 nights, your attention becomes increasingly aligned with abundance. You begin to see a different world, not a fantasy world without difficulty, but a world containing more options than fear allowed you to recognize. There are people you have not yet met, skills you have not yet developed, ideas you have not yet received, methods you have not yet considered, markets you have not yet understood, solutions you have not yet tested. You do not need access to all of them tonight. You need only the next one. Divine order reveals what is necessary at the appropriate time. Allow your breathing to become slower. Breathe in gently for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold softly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now breathe out for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rest for a moment before the next breath. Again, breathe in. Receive peace. Hold gently and breathe out. Release pressure. Again. Breathe in divine order. Hold the awareness that you are supported. Breathe out every demand that the whole future be solved tonight. Your body moves from alertness into restoration. The mind becomes still like a quiet lake. When the water is disturbed, the reflection appears broken. When the water becomes calm, the image grows clear. You do not create the moon by calming the lake. You become able to see what was already present. In the same way, peace does not invent divine guidance. Peace allows you to recognize it. Breathe slowly. Relax completely. Release the forehead. Release the eyes. Release the jaw. Release the throat. Release the shoulders. Release the chest. Release the abdomen. Release the hands. Release the legs. Release the feet. Your entire body is supported. You do not need to follow every word now. Your conscious attention may drift. You may move in and out of awareness. That is perfectly natural. Let the words become a gentle stream. Your deeper mind continues listening. Your inner being remains receptive. All is well. All is peaceful. All is abundant. You are safe. You are supported. You are provided for. And as you rest in this deeper peace, consider another person who once faced a financial condition that appeared almost impossible to overcome. He was a young man, approaching 30. He carried a large burden of debt. Some of it came from education. Some came from medical expenses. Some came from decisions made when he had been frightened, inexperienced, and desperate for relief. Every month, interest increased the burden. Even when he made payments, he felt as though he were making no progress. He worked, but much of what he earned disappeared immediately. He could not imagine saving. He could not imagine owning a home. He could not imagine beginning a family without passing the burden forward. The debt had become more than a financial obligation. It had become a voice. Every morning, it told him, "You are behind." Every time he spent money on something necessary, it said, "You should feel guilty." Every time he saw another person enjoying life, it said, "You cannot have that." Every time he considered a new opportunity, it said, "You cannot take a risk because you owe too much." He had begun to think of himself not as a young man with debt, but as a debtor. The condition had become his identity. And because it had become his identity, he could not imagine a life beyond it. But identity can be renewed. A burden may be present without becoming the name of the person carrying it. A debt can be resolved. A mistake can be corrected. A pattern can be changed. The first step is to stop speaking as though the condition possesses eternal authority. The young man was about to learn that he did not have to deny the numbers. He had to stop bowing before them. He had to look at the obligation with honesty while refusing to call it his destiny. He had to replace the consciousness of permanent bondage with the consciousness of wisdom, provision, and orderly release. And night after night, as he entered sleep, he would begin to speak a new word over the burden. The young man's debt had not come from one careless decision alone. Part of it came from student loans taken with the hope that education would lead him into a secure future. Part of it came from an unexpected health crisis that required treatment he could not postpone. And part of it came from credit cards he had used during periods of unemployment, when there had been rent to pay, food to buy, and no dependable income arriving. By the time he added everything together, the total was nearly $80,000. To someone earning barely $30,000 a year in an entry-level position, the amount did not look like a temporary obligation. It looked like a life sentence. He disliked his work intensely, but he believed he could not leave because even that modest income was necessary to make the minimum monthly payments. Every morning, he entered a job that drained him. Every evening, he returned to a tiny studio apartment in a neighborhood he did not feel safe or comfortable in. He had no savings. When the debt was included, he felt that he possessed less than nothing. He watched people his age purchase homes, travel, marry, begin families, and build careers. He saw their photographs. He listened to their plans. He accepted invitations he could not afford or invented excuses to decline them. Each comparison deepened the belief that he had fallen permanently behind. Every dollar he earned appeared to disappear immediately. Rent, food, transportation, utilities, minimum payments, interest. There was almost nothing remaining for pleasure, growth, education, investment, or hope. The financial burden was heavy, but the psychological burden was heavier. He was ashamed when friends suggested a restaurant beyond his budget. He felt humiliated when someone casually spoke about saving for a vacation. He became defensive when family members asked about his future. He believed everyone else had learned some secret about adulthood that he had somehow missed. Most painfully, he was angry with himself. He replayed every choice that had increased the debt. He remembered purchases he regretted. He remembered forms he had signed without fully understanding the long-term consequences. He remembered moments when he might have asked for help but had been too embarrassed. He punished himself for decisions made by a younger version of himself who had possessed less knowledge, less support, and fewer options. He believed that self-condemnation was responsibility. But condemnation did not improve his decisions. It weakened him. It made him avoid opening statements. It made him spend emotionally on rare occasions simply to experience temporary relief. It made him afraid to ask about repayment programs because he assumed nothing would help. It made every financial conversation feel like an accusation. Eventually, he attended a spiritual lecture not because he truly expected his debt to disappear, but because he wanted relief from the mental torment. He did not ask for a miracle. He only wanted to feel less crushed. After listening to his story, the teacher told him something that sounded impossible. He must stop allowing the debt to dominate his consciousness. The young man protested immediately. How could he stop focusing on $80,000? The number was printed on statements. Interest accumulated every month. Payments were due whether he felt peaceful or not. Ignoring it would surely be irresponsible. But he was not being instructed to ignore practical obligations. He was being instructed to stop making the debt the central image of his identity. There is a difference between responsibly managing an obligation and worshiping it through constant fear. One involves reviewing the facts, creating a plan, making payments, seeking qualified advice, and taking wise action. The other involves thinking about the burden at every hour, rehearsing disaster, condemning oneself, and assuming that no solution can exist. The first is stewardship. The second is captivity. He had been looking at the debt so constantly that he could no longer see anything else. He did not see his education. He did not see his working capacity. He did not see the possibility of promotion. He did not see repayment programs. He did not see transferable skills. He did not see relationships, new employment, side income, negotiation, restructuring, or future increase. His mind had become trained to look only at what he owed. He was instructed to redirect that attention not by pretending the debt was absent, but by establishing a consciousness larger than the debt. Every night before sleep, He was to declare, "I release this burden of debt into divine intelligence, and I go free to prosper. I no longer carry this obligation as a sentence against my life. I face every responsibility with honesty, wisdom, and calm. My subconscious mind is now focused upon solutions, value, increase, and financial freedom. As I sleep tonight, divine intelligence reveals new ideas and right opportunities for increasing my income. I am guided toward every program, person, resource, and action that supports the harmonious resolution of my obligations. Money flows to me through expected and unexpected channels. Every account is brought into divine order. I awaken clear, courageous, and ready to take inspired action. I am not my debt. I am a child of infinite supply, learning to receive, manage, and circulate abundance wisely." Then, as sleep approached, he was to repeat, "I am debt-free in consciousness. I am wealthy in spirit. I am financially secure under divine order." At first, the practice felt painful. The moment he said, "I am debt-free in consciousness," the mind displayed the exact number he owed. When he said, "I am financially secure," it reminded him of the nearly empty account. When he said, "Divine intelligence reveals the way," it answered that if a way existed, he would already have found it. But he continued. He did not argue with every fearful thought. He simply redirected his attention. When the mind said, "This will take decades," he answered, "I am open to a faster, wiser resolution than I presently understand." When the mind said, "You have ruined your life," he answered, "My past is forgiven and my future remains open." When the mind said, "There is no way out," he answered, "Divine intelligence has ways beyond my present sight." He still reviewed his accounts at the proper time. He still made the required payments. He did not use affirmation as an excuse to become careless. But when the practical task was finished, he stopped carrying the statement through every remaining hour of the day. He began to say, "I have handled what belongs to today. Tomorrow's action will be revealed tomorrow. I am safe to rest." During the first week, no visible miracle appeared, yet he began sleeping better. For months, he had awakened repeatedly with his heart racing. Now he occasionally slept through the night. This seemed like a small change, but it restored energy. With greater rest, he became less irritable at work. He listened more carefully. He completed tasks with greater attention. He stopped assuming that everyone was judging him. He became more present. In the second week, a colleague mentioned that their department needed someone to lead a new project. The colleague had noticed his reliability and believed he might be suitable. The young man nearly rejected the suggestion. His old consciousness said, "You are not qualified. You are already overwhelmed. They will choose someone else." But the nightly practice had created enough inner space for another thought to arise. "Perhaps this is one of the opportunities I have asked to recognize." He applied. He prepared carefully. He spoke about his abilities without apologizing. He was offered the position. The promotion increased his annual salary by approximately $15,000. The opportunity had existed within the organization, but he had not previously been aware of it. Fear had trained him to think only about surviving his current position. A more receptive consciousness helped him recognize the possibility of advancement. Around the same period, he received information indicating that one of his student loans might qualify for a forgiveness program. In the past, he might have ignored the notice because financial correspondence filled him with anxiety. This time, he opened it. He asked questions. He completed the required forms. Approximately $12,000 of the obligation was removed. Soon afterward, an uncle he barely knew died and left him a modest inheritance of $8,000. He did not interpret the relative's death as having been caused by his spiritual practice. Instead, he understood that life contained channels and circumstances he could never personally arrange. The inheritance became one part of a larger pattern of resolution. Within several weeks, his income had risen. A portion of the debt had been forgiven. Another portion could be paid through the inheritance. He used the new resources strategically rather than spending them impulsively. By the end of the first month, he had reduced the balance by an additional $10,000. The external progress was significant, but the greater transformation was internal. The debt no longer felt like a monster, controlling every decision. It had become a condition that could be addressed step by step. He now saw numbers without collapsing emotionally. He could ask for assistance without feeling worthless. He could consider the future without immediately seeing decades of suffering. He learned that faith did not erase responsibility. Faith restored the state of mind necessary to carry responsibility well. 6 months later, more than half the original burden had been resolved. He was on course to become fully free within approximately 18 months rather than the decades he had originally imagined. When he reflected upon the change, he understood that fear had been creating additional difficulty. Fear made him avoid information. Fear made him underestimate his abilities. Fear prevented him from seeking better opportunities. Fear exhausted him. Fear turned every number into a prophecy. But when fear began to quiet, solutions became visible. He said, "I once allowed debt to tell me who I was. Now, I understand that debt is only a condition passing through my life. I am debt-free in consciousness before the final account is cleared. I am wealthy in spiritual resources now. I am guided by solutions rather than controlled by problems. I am led by faith rather than fear. Every obligation is moving toward harmonious resolution. I take wise action. I welcome increasing income. I receive assistance without shame. I use every resource intelligently. My external condition is aligning with the freedom I have accepted within." Tonight, let this lesson become personal. You may have financial decisions you regret. You may have lost money. You may have borrowed from fear. You may have trusted the wrong person. You may have delayed dealing with an obligation. You may have earned too little for a long time. You may have lived in poverty for many years. None of this is required to become your permanent identity. You are not doomed to repeat yesterday's pattern. The past has information for you, but it does not possess authority over your future unless you continue to grant it that authority. Sigh. I release every past financial mistake with forgiveness and grace. I take the wisdom and release the shame. I am not defined by what happened before. I create a new financial pattern through present consciousness and right action. My future is bright, orderly, and abundant. I am free from the past. I am empowered in the present. I am guided into a prosperous future. Every new day is an opportunity to think differently, to speak differently, to choose differently, to ask a better question, to make one wiser decision, to refuse one harmful habit, to recognize one opportunity. A completely new financial life can be built from small decisions repeated under a new consciousness. Rest now in the knowledge that your history is not your destiny. The accounts may still be resolving. The practical steps may still be unfolding. But within you, freedom can begin tonight. Think for a moment about a person you consider financially prosperous. Do not focus only upon what they possess. Consider the consciousness from which they may operate. Perhaps they expect opportunities to exist. Perhaps they trust their ability to solve problems. Perhaps they are willing to learn what they do not know. Perhaps they take calculated risks without allowing fear to make every decision. Perhaps they recover quickly after disappointment. Perhaps they ask for fair compensation. Perhaps they recognize that money must be managed, not merely received. Perhaps they enjoy what they possess without constant guilt. Perhaps they give because they understand circulation. These qualities are not reserved for those born into privilege. They can be developed. You do not need a wealthy family to practice clear thought. You do not need elite connections to become teachable. You do not need a perfect history to develop discipline. You do not need to feel fearless before taking a wise step. You do not need special permission to change your speech, expectations, and habits. Over these 21 nights, you are cultivating the consciousness of a prosperous person. You are learning to think in possibilities without becoming reckless. You are learning to expect good without refusing responsibility. You are learning to act with confidence without becoming arrogant. You are learning to receive without shame and give without resentment. Declare, I possess the consciousness of a prosperous person. I think thoughts that support growth. I speak words that strengthen possibility. I make financial decisions that protect and multiply my resources. I recognize opportunities that fear once caused me to overlook. I take inspired action while others may still hesitate. I am patient enough to prepare and courageous enough to move. I enjoy prosperity without guilt. I use wealth to improve my life and bless others. I am becoming wealthier in wisdom, character, and practical capacity. Now, notice how peaceful your body feels. Peace is not separate from prosperity consciousness. Peace is prosperity consciousness at rest. Joy is prosperity consciousness, moving freely. Gratitude is prosperity consciousness, recognizing its present blessings. Faith is prosperity consciousness, expecting continuing good. Love is prosperity consciousness, allowing good to circulate. These emotional states affect the way you perceive and respond to your world. When the mind is dominated by fear, it sees threat everywhere. When it is established in peace, it can distinguish a real problem from an imagined disaster. When it is filled with gratitude, it recognizes resources. When it is guided by faith, it continues after temporary disappointment. When it is grounded in love, it seeks outcomes that bless more than one person. Therefore, say, I feel peaceful about money. I feel joyful about the good unfolding in my life. I am grateful for every present blessing. I have faith that my needs are being met in right ways. I love myself enough to make wise decisions. I love others enough to prosper without exploiting them. I return easily to peace, gratitude, faith, joy, and love. You may occasionally experience worry. Do not condemn yourself for it. A passing feeling does not destroy your practice. Simply notice it, breathe, then choose the direction in which you will continue. You do not need to fight fear as though it were a powerful enemy. You can allow it to pass without feeding it. This introduces the spiritual principle of non-resistance. Resistance occurs when you push mentally and emotionally against a condition so violently that your entire consciousness becomes attached to it. You say, I hate this debt. I cannot bear this job. I am furious that others have more. I must receive money immediately. This situation should not exist. The more intensely you fight the appearance, the more completely it occupies your attention. Non-resistance does not mean surrendering to injustice, neglecting bills, accepting abuse, or refusing practical action. It means refusing to allow resentment, panic, jealousy, and desperate attachment to govern the action. You can change a condition without hating it. You can leave a job without cursing it. You can pay a debt without identifying with it. You can desire greater income without despising your current earnings. You can pursue success without resenting those who have already attained it. You can say, this is the present condition, and I am calmly moving beyond it. I do not waste my life fighting appearances. I direct my energy toward solutions. I accept the facts without accepting limitation as permanent. I trust divine intelligence to reveal the right path. I release desperate attachment to one form or one deadline. I remain in relaxed expectancy. Imagine a river flowing toward the sea. When nothing blocks its path, it moves naturally. If a great barrier is placed across it, the water presses against the obstruction. Financial resistance can act like such a barrier. Fear blocks receiving. Shame blocks asking. Jealousy blocks blessing. Guilt blocks enjoyment. Desperation blocks clear perception. Non-resistance removes these barriers. Sigh. I release all resistance to prosperity. I no longer push against my present condition with anger. I face it peacefully and move beyond it wisely. I release anxiety about exactly how and when my good must appear. I trust divine intelligence to select the perfect channel. I bless the prosperity of others. I desire wealth without desperate grasping. I am relaxed, receptive, and ready. My good flows toward me because I no longer close the channel with fear. Now imagine a river of golden light descending from the realm of infinite supply. It flows gently toward the crown of your head. It is not heavy. It is warm, luminous, and peaceful. This golden river represents every form of abundance: money, ideas, health, relationships, courage, education, support, opportunity, protection, time, wisdom. Let the river enter through the crown of the head. Feel it moving through the mind. It touches every old belief concerning lack. Where there was shame, it brings forgiveness. Where there was confusion, it brings clarity. Where there was fear, it brings peace. Where there was rigidity, it brings openness. Feel the golden light moving through the face and jaw. You no longer need to tighten against life. Let it flow down through the neck and shoulders. Every burden you were never meant to carry begins to release. Let it enter the chest and heart. Your capacity to receive expands. Your capacity to give expands. You are no longer afraid that giving will empty you or that receiving will make you selfish. You understand divine circulation. Let the golden river move through the abdomen. It brings stability. It calms the nervous system. It teaches the body that prosperity can be peaceful. Let it move through the hips, legs, and feet. It anchors abundance into practical life. Prosperity is not merely an idea floating above you. It is grounded in decisions. It is grounded in work. It is grounded in wise stewardship. It is grounded in integrity. It is grounded in the earth beneath your feet. Sigh. I am an open channel for infinite abundance. I receive the golden river of prosperity with gratitude. It fills my mind with divine ideas. It fills my heart with generous love. It fills my hands with useful work. It fills my life with right opportunity. I do not hoard from fear. I do not block the current. I receive abundantly, and I allow good to move through me. I am blessed, and I become a blessing. Money is a tool. It allows you to create experiences. It allows you to care for yourself and those you love. It allows you to support meaningful causes. It can give you time to create. It can help you build a business that serves others. It can provide education. It can create safety. It can support beauty, healing, and generosity. Money is not the final purpose of life, but it can serve a meaningful purpose within life. Ask yourself gently, what would abundant resources allow me to do? Would you provide a more secure home for your family? Would you travel and encounter new cultures? Would you support someone's education? Would you create art without constant financial pressure? Would you develop a service that solves a meaningful problem? Would you care for your health? Would you give time to prayer, creativity, family, or community? Allow your desire for prosperity to connect with purpose. Sigh. I desire wealth for meaningful reasons. I welcome resources that allow me to live my values. My prosperity creates beautiful experiences. My abundance supports those I love. My resources help me express my gifts. My financial freedom allows me to serve without constant fear. It is safe and honorable for me to desire prosperity under grace. Now visualize your prosperous life. See yourself checking your account and feeling calm. See obligations handled on time. See savings accumulating. See yourself working in a career that honors your abilities or directing a business that provides genuine value. See your home. Notice the light entering the room. Notice the sense of order. See yourself making a purchase without anxiety because it has been planned and is within your means. See yourself giving because there is overflow. Hear the sounds of your peaceful life. Feel the confidence in your posture. Notice the absence of panic. Make the image vivid, but do not strain. Visualization is a rehearsal for consciousness. It allows the mind to become familiar with a condition before it fully appears externally. Sigh. I see my prosperous life clearly. I feel the peace of financial order. I hear the sounds of joyful and meaningful living. I experience gratitude throughout my body. My inner vision prepares me for outer expression. I become capable of recognizing and sustaining the life I imagine. Your thoughts influence your body. Your beliefs influence your emotional state. Your emotional state affects your decisions. Your decisions affect your circumstances. Tonight, every part of you is being invited into a new pattern. You are no longer broadcasting only fear. You are sending forth faith, expectancy, gratitude, purpose, and readiness. You are becoming a match for the opportunities you once requested but were too afraid to recognize. Rest more deeply now. The conscious mind may begin to fade. This is good. Nothing more is required from you. The transformation is not dependent upon strain. Trust the process. Have faith in the work occurring beneath awareness. You may not perceive every change in the morning, but one night is becoming 2. 2 nights become 7. 7 become 14. 14 become 21. Repetition becomes familiarity. Familiarity becomes identity. Identity becomes conduct. Conduct creates a new experience. Say softly, I trust. I allow. I receive. I am wealthy in consciousness. I am abundant in possibility. I am prosperous in purpose. I am guided in action. And so it is. Money comes to me. Abundance fills my life. Wealth becomes increasingly natural to my consciousness. Opportunities appear before me. Blessings multiply. Success enters every activity that is aligned with my highest good. I am open to receive. I accept prosperity with gratitude. I am wealthy beyond the limitations of my former imagination. I am rich in ideas. I am rich in courage. I am rich in wisdom. I am rich in useful relationships. I am rich in the capacity to learn and create. Physical prosperity now begins to reflect the inner abundance I accept. There was once a woman who needed a specific sum of money. She did not seek wealth for a vague purpose. She needed approximately $10,000 to resolve an obligation that had caused her persistent stress. For years, she had struggled financially. Every time she thought about the debt, she felt the familiar tightening in her body. She imagined late notices. She imagined judgment. She imagined the burden continuing indefinitely. She asked how she could manifest the amount. The instruction she received appeared counterintuitive. She was told not to focus continually upon needing $10,000. Need keeps attention upon absence. Instead, she was instructed to practice gratitude as though the right provision had already been arranged. Every morning, she declared, "Thank you, Divine Source, for the $10,000 that has reached me in perfect ways." Every night before sleep, she said, "I am deeply grateful for the $10,000 that is mine under divine order." Whenever the debt entered her mind during the day, she did not rehearse panic. She shifted toward gratitude. She said, "The provision exists. The way is being arranged. I give thanks before I see the completed form." At first, her logical mind protested. How could she express thanks for money not yet visible? Would this not be dishonest? But gratitude before manifestation was not pretending that the account already showed the amount. It was a spiritual act of expectancy. She was giving thanks for provision in process. She was training her consciousness to receive rather than merely to need. Need says, "I do not have." Gratitude says, "I trust that good is available." Need contracts. Gratitude opens. Need stares at one closed channel. Gratitude remains receptive to many channels. For 3 weeks, she continued. She gave thanks in the morning. She gave thanks before sleep. She gave thanks when fear appeared. She did not force herself into excitement. She simply returned to trust. On the 22nd day, she received a call from an attorney she had never met. A distant aunt, whom she barely remembered from childhood, had died and left her approximately $10,300. The woman had not expected an inheritance. She could not have arranged the channel through conscious planning. The relative's passing was not caused by her gratitude. Rather, The inheritance represented a channel already connected to circumstances beyond her knowledge. Her new consciousness allowed her to receive the provision without remaining imprisoned in the belief that only one familiar route could supply it. The lesson is not that every person who repeats a number will receive an inheritance. The lesson is that divine supply is not limited to the route you presently understand. Your good may come through employment, through business, through a refund, through repayment, through a program, through an idea, through the removal of an expense, through a sale, through a relationship, through an opportunity not yet visible. You do not dictate the channel. You establish gratitude, remain alert, and act when guidance appears. Sigh. I am grateful for the money moving toward me through seen and unseen channels. I give thanks for abundance already present in consciousness. I appreciate every dollar received through my work. I appreciate unexpected provision. I appreciate gifts, refunds, corrections, opportunities, and wise savings. My gratitude opens my awareness. My thankfulness aligns me with the blessings prepared for me. I am grateful for prosperity now. Consider the intelligence already working within your body. Your heart continues beating without conscious instruction. Your lungs continue breathing. Your digestive system performs countless functions. Your immune system protects you in ways you rarely notice. Your brain coordinates signals beyond the capacity of your conscious attention. Life is being sustained by an intelligence deeper than deliberate thought. You do not consciously command every heartbeat. You do not direct every cell. You cooperate with an order already at work. In the same way, you can release the belief that your conscious mind must orchestrate every detail of prosperity. You still take practical action. You still make decisions. You still work, learn, organize, and respond. But you do not carry the universe upon your shoulders. You say, "My task is to maintain faith, clarity, gratitude, and readiness. Divine intelligence arranges what exceeds my sight. I do not need to know every detail in advance. I trust the intelligence that grows a flower from a seed. That same intelligence develops the seeds of prosperity planted within me. I release excessive control. I remain available to guidance. Your breath is becoming slower. With every inhale, imagine that you receive golden light. With every exhale, release one old limitation. Breathe in abundance. Breathe out worry. Breathe in wisdom. Breathe out confusion. Breathe in prosperity. Breathe out inherited scarcity. Breathe in courage. Breathe out shame. Breathe in peace. Breathe out the demand to solve everything now. Each breath becomes a gentle declaration. I receive. I release. I receive. I release. Your consciousness is being cleansed of language that no longer serves you. You breathe prosperity into every cell. You breathe order into every financial decision. You breathe peace into your relationship with money. Sigh. My breath carries abundance. My breath releases limitation. With every inhale, I accept divine supply. With every exhale, I surrender fear. I am abundant with every breath. There is another important principle. What you bless tends to increase in your awareness and use. What you continually curse becomes associated with resentment, rejection, and contraction. When you receive income, bless it. Sigh. I bless this money with gratitude, and I direct it wisely. When you pay a bill, bless the payment. Sigh. I am grateful for the service received. I release this payment in peace, and divine supply continues. When you save, bless the amount. Sigh. This money becomes a foundation of future freedom. When you see another person prospering, bless them. Sigh. I bless their success. Their good does not diminish mine. When you examine your present financial condition, do not curse it. Sigh. I bless this condition with wisdom, and I call it into divine order. Blessing does not mean refusing to improve. It means bringing a constructive consciousness to the improvement. Complaining repeatedly about money teaches the mind to associate money only with pain. Blessing teaches the mind to recognize it as a useful form of circulating value. Declare, I bless all money that enters my life. I bless all money that leaves for right purposes. I bless the prosperity of others. I bless my present condition while it improves. I bless my future increase. What I bless expands in usefulness. My money blesses me, and I bless my money. Now allow the voice to move farther into the background. You may no longer hear every sentence distinctly. That is perfectly natural. Your conscious mind is drifting. Your deeper mind remains receptive. You do not need to stay awake. You do not need to remember. Sleep is welcome. Rest is welcome. Transformation is welcome. Money flows to me easily. Money flows to me frequently. Money reaches me through multiple sources. Money comes through my work. Money comes through valuable ideas. Money comes through opportunities. Money comes through wise investments when appropriate. Money comes through gifts and unexpected correction. Money comes through relationships and cooperation. Money comes because I am aligned with value, wisdom, service, and infinite supply. Money flows. Good circulates. Abundance expands. Now, in your imagination, see yourself standing before a magnificent vault door. It is large, strong, and secure. The vault represents the subconscious mind where beliefs, memories, expectations, and patterns concerning money have been stored. For many years, the door appeared closed. Behind it were abilities you did not recognize, ideas you did not trust, confidence you did not use, opportunities you were not prepared to receive. But tonight, you have been given the combination. Each affirmation is one number. Each moment of forgiveness is another. Each act of gratitude moves another mechanism into alignment. Each wise decision turns the wheel. Each night of consistency brings another click. You place your hand upon the combination lock. You enter the first number, faith; the second, gratitude; the third, divine order; the fourth, right action; the fifth, wise stewardship; the sixth, receptivity; the seventh, peace. You hear the final mechanism move. The great door opens. Inside, you see symbols of abundance, gold shining in warm light, resources from many lands, documents representing successful work, wise agreements, useful investments, and creative ideas. You see books of knowledge. You see tools. You see keys. You see plans. You see gifts that have been waiting for expression. The deepest wealth in this vault is not merely currency. It is consciousness. It is your ability to create value. It is your connection to divine intelligence. It is the courage to act. It is the wisdom to preserve. It is the generosity to circulate. It is the peace that allows you to recognize the right opportunity. This inner wealth has been present, but old beliefs kept the door closed. Now the door is open. Sigh. The vault of my subconscious is unlocked. My inner riches are accessible. I possess the combination to abundance. Faith opens the vault. Gratitude opens the vault. Wisdom opens the vault. Right action opens the vault. My prosperity consciousness flows freely into physical expression. What has always been mine in spiritual potential is now being developed into visible form. The vault remains open. You no longer stand outside begging for entry. You enter with humility, responsibility, and gratitude. You are prepared to use what you find wisely. The spoken word carries creative direction. Every word repeatedly spoken with emotion instructs the consciousness. Your words reveal what you expect. They reinforce the images you hold. They influence the actions you consider possible. This is why careless speech about money matters. When you repeatedly say, I am always broke. Money never stays with me. I will never get ahead. Everything is too expensive. No one values my work. You are not merely describing a passing feeling. You are strengthening a pattern. The purpose is not to become afraid of every sentence or to punish yourself for speaking imperfectly. The purpose is to become conscious. Tomorrow, listen to the language you use casually. Notice the jokes. Notice the exaggerations. Notice the automatic phrases inherited from others. Then choose language that is both truthful and constructive. Instead of saying, "I am broke," say, "I am reorganizing my cash flow and the situation is improving." Instead of saying, "I can never afford that," say, "That is not my present financial priority," or "I am preparing to receive it in the right time and way." Instead of saying, "Bills are destroying me," say, "I bring every obligation into divine order and handle it one step at a time." Instead of saying, "Money is impossible to earn," say, "I am increasing the value I provide and opening new channels of income." This is not empty word replacement. It is the discipline of refusing to transform temporary facts into permanent curses. Declare, "I speak words of prosperity. I use language that supports wisdom and increase. I refuse to speak poverty over my future. My word is a wand directing my consciousness. I choose each declaration carefully. I speak wealth into being through faith, value, and right action. My word creates the atmosphere in which I live. I speak abundance consistently." You have now received many teachings, affirmations, visualizations, and stories. You do not need to remember them all consciously. Your task is not to recite the entire transmission tomorrow. The purpose is to saturate the deeper mind with a new atmosphere. You are approximately halfway through this expanded process. The remaining words may become softer and more repetitive. Allow yourself to drift. Trust the process. You are safe. You are supported. You are becoming wealthy first in consciousness and then increasingly in visible form. Sigh. My beliefs about money are changing. My emotional relationship with prosperity is healing. By morning, I awaken with greater peace. Through 21 nights, the new pattern becomes established. I trust the transformation. I relax. I receive. Think of a tree that produces fruit. The tree does not stand in the field shouting at its branches. It does not pull upon the fruit to make it grow faster. It does not compare itself anxiously to another tree. It remains rooted. It receives sunlight. It draws nourishment. It follows the law of its nature. In the proper season, fruit appears. Prosperity consciousness can be understood in this way. You become rooted in faith. You receive the light of divine intelligence. You draw nourishment from gratitude, wisdom, discipline, and service. You do not force the fruit. You cultivate the tree. When prosperity becomes part of your identity, right financial results begin to emerge more naturally. This does not eliminate work. A tree still grows. It develops roots. It responds to seasons. It needs nourishment. But it does not perform frantic labor against its nature. You say, "I am a prosperity tree. My roots go deep into faith. I am nourished by infinite supply. My branches express useful service. My fruit appears in right season." Wealth is not something I chase in panic. It is the natural result of the consciousness and value I cultivate. I allow rather than force. I attract rather than chase. I am strong, patient, fruitful, and established. There was a businessman who had operated his company for more than 15 years. The business provided a comfortable living, but it never reached the expansion he desired. He believed the answer was more effort. He worked 60 to 70 hours every week. He arrived early. He remained late. He missed dinners with his family. He missed celebrations. He carried business concerns into the bedroom. Even when physically present with his wife and children, his mind remained at the office. He believed sacrifice proved commitment. He believed exhaustion was the price of growth. He believed that reducing his effort would cause everything to collapse. Yet, despite the increasing hours, the business remained at approximately the same level. There were occasional strong months, followed by a return to the old average. The pattern filled him with frustration. He worked harder. The business resisted. He worked longer. The result remained similar. His health began to decline. His blood pressure rose. He slept poorly. He became impatient at home. He felt like a failure even though he was working harder than nearly everyone he knew. Eventually, he sought spiritual guidance. He expected to be told to make another plan, extend his hours, or increase his discipline. Instead, he was told that excessive force might be obstructing the very prosperity he desired. This shocked him. How could effort block success? He was helped to see that his work arose not from inspired purpose, but from scarcity consciousness. Beneath the long hours was the belief, if I stop, everything will disappear. If I rest, I will fall behind. There is not enough business. I must capture every possible client. I alone must hold everything together. The activity looked productive, but the consciousness beneath it was fear. Fear narrowed creativity. Fear made him accept poor fit clients. Fear prevented delegation. Fear caused him to repeat old methods because he lacked the space to receive new ideas. Fear damaged the relationships that were supposed to benefit from the business. He was instructed to conduct an experiment. Reduce the workweek from approximately 70 hours to 40. Spend evenings with the family. Take weekends for genuine rest and recreation. Use the final hours before sleep, not for more frantic work, but for renewing prosperity consciousness. At first, this terrified him. Every evening away from the office felt dangerous. He imagined sales disappearing. He checked messages repeatedly. He felt guilty while resting. But he continued. During the first 2 weeks, discomfort remained. Then something began to change. Because he was rested, creative ideas returned. He saw inefficiencies he had been too exhausted to notice. He recognized work that could be delegated. He developed a clearer offer for the clients he served best. His calmer presence improved conversations. Higher quality clients responded to the new clarity. Because he no longer chased every sale from fear, he became more selective. He accepted work that fit the strengths of the company. The work became more profitable and more enjoyable. Within 3 months, income had risen by approximately 40%, while his hours had fallen substantially. Within 6 months, he hired additional staff to handle increased demand. This allowed him to focus upon strategic work rather than controlling every daily detail. Within a year, the company's income had multiplied compared with the period when he worked 70-hour weeks. He was working fewer than 30 hours personally, with less stress and greater joy. The lesson was not that work is unnecessary. The lesson was that frantic work is not always effective work. Right consciousness produces right action. Rest made room for ideas. Peace improved relationships. Delegation expanded capacity. Selectivity improved profitability. Trust allowed him to stop attempting to perform every function alone. He declared, I release the need to force prosperity. I understand that excessive strain is not the source of wealth. I align my consciousness before I act. I work intelligently. I focus upon the actions that create the greatest value. I delegate what others can perform well. I reduce stress and increase clarity. Rest supports creativity. Joy restores energy. My abundance comes through who I am being and the value I express, not through frantic activity. I allow rather than force. I trust rather than struggle. Prosperity flows with ease and grace. Your body is now deeply relaxed. You may no longer be fully conscious of the voice. You may be moving between waking and sleep. This is a beautiful place of receptivity. Every belief structure becomes softer. The new pattern is entering without struggle. You do not need to monitor the transformation. Tomorrow, you may notice only subtle differences. Perhaps a fearful thought does not remain as long. Perhaps you feel prompted to organize something. Perhaps an idea appears during the morning. Perhaps you speak differently. Perhaps you feel less desperate. Do not demand dramatic proof after one night. Allow the changes to accumulate. Sigh. I rest while transformation occurs. I do not need to understand every inner change. My subconscious is receiving prosperity consciousness. Tomorrow, I awaken different in subtle ways. After 21 nights, the accumulated transformation becomes clear. My thoughts change. My feelings change. My behavior changes. My circumstances respond to the person I am becoming. I am wealthy. I am rich in divine ideas. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am financially free in consciousness. These are not weak wishes. They are declarations of the spiritual identity I am cultivating now. Physical manifestation may require time to develop, but the inner shift begins in this moment. Divine timing cannot be forced. A seed does not become stronger because you shout at it. Some apparent delays protect you. Some prepare you. Some allow circumstances to align. Some give you time to become capable of preserving what you have requested. Patience is not passivity. Patience continues the consciousness work. Patience takes the next practical step. Patience trusts the season without abandoning the field. Sigh. I trust divine timing. I do not rush what needs to develop in order. I remain patient without becoming passive. I continue to learn, prepare, and act. I release anxiety about exactly when my blessing will appear. My prosperity arrives at the right time, through the right channel, under grace. Consciousness is cause. Circumstances are effect. An external improvement without inner transformation may be temporary. A person may receive money and lose it because the old pattern remains. A person may enter a new opportunity and recreate the same conflict because consciousness has not changed. Therefore, you work at the level of cause. You establish worthiness. You establish wisdom. You establish gratitude. You establish discipline. You establish receptivity. You establish right action. Then the outer form has a foundation upon which to remain. Sigh. I transform the cause. I release the need to manipulate every effect through force. As my consciousness changes, my perception changes. As my perception changes, my decisions change. As my decisions change, my results change. My prosperity is built upon an inner foundation. Now sleep more deeply. The words may blend into rhythm. You do not need conscious comprehension. Allow yourself to be bathed in the atmosphere of faith. Rest in abundance. Rest in divine supply. Rest in the certainty that the next right step will be revealed. Tonight, the vault has opened. The word has been spoken. The tree has been planted. Divine timing is at work. You are one night deeper into prosperity consciousness, and the journey continues. You are wealthy in truth. You are abundant in consciousness. You are prosperous in the deepest chamber of your being, where ideas are born, decisions are formed, and the direction of your life quietly begins. Allow these words to move through you now without effort. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am prosperous. Money flows. Good circulates. Divine supply is active in my life. I am provided for completely. I am financially free in consciousness, and every part of my outer life is moving toward greater order. I am wealthy now. I am becoming increasingly receptive to wealth through honest, harmonious, and beneficial channels. Money comes to me through work that creates value. Money comes to me through ideas that solve real problems. Money comes to me through cooperation, wisdom, discipline, courage, and right timing. Money may reach me through familiar sources. Money may reach me through a channel I have not yet considered. I do not limit infinite intelligence. I do not demand that one person, one job, one business, or one opportunity become the only source of my good. A channel may change. The source remains. A form may end. The creative intelligence within me remains capable of receiving another idea. I deserve abundance, not because I have proven myself through suffering, but because I am a living expression of divine life. My spiritual worth does not rise and fall with my bank balance. My value is not erased by a temporary difficulty. My dignity does not disappear when a plan fails. I do not have to exhaust myself to earn the right to exist. I am enough in spiritual identity now. From this foundation of inherent worth, I willingly develop my practical value. I learn. I improve. I serve. I create. I become trustworthy with responsibility. I become wise with resources. I become courageous in action. I become peaceful in receiving. Prosperity is my divine inheritance, and I accept it without guilt. I do not take what belongs to another. I do not manipulate or deceive. I do not seek gain through harm. I claim the good that belongs to me under grace, in perfect ways, for the benefit of all concerned. I release resistance. I release fear about money. I release guilt about desiring financial stability. I release shame surrounding success. I forgive myself for every financial decision made before I possessed greater wisdom. I forgive those whose actions caused me financial pain. Forgiveness does not require me to approve wrongdoing. It releases me from carrying the emotional poison of the event into my future. I learn the lesson. I establish wise boundaries. I seek justice or resolution when appropriate, but I refuse to bind my prosperity to resentment. I forgive my parents and those who raised me for any scarcity beliefs they passed to me unconsciously. Perhaps they were afraid. Perhaps they had experienced war, unemployment, debt, betrayal, or deprivation. Perhaps they taught survival because survival was all they understood. I bless them. I honor their endurance. And I release what no longer serves. I say, the pattern changes with me. I receive the wisdom of the past without repeating its fear. I am free from inherited limitation. I establish a new consciousness of provision, responsibility, and peace. Money comes to me now through increasing value and right opportunity. My breakthrough is not postponed to a vague future. Its first movement is occurring now. Old patterns are dissolving. New habits are developing. Old assumptions are being questioned. New possibilities are entering awareness. A breakthrough may begin as an idea. It may begin as a decision. It may begin as a conversation. It may begin when I finally stop undercharging. It may begin when I complete a project I have delayed. It may begin when I ask for guidance. It may begin when I release an expense that no longer serves me. It may begin when I learn a skill that increases my value. I recognize the beginning. I do not overlook it because it appears small. I am ready for greater abundance than I have previously imagined. I welcome wealth as a positive force when used wisely. I celebrate prosperity that supports health, freedom, creativity, family, education, generosity, and meaningful service. I am grateful for abundance flowing toward me. I am excited about the future, but I am peaceful in the present. I do not allow excitement to become impatience. I do not allow desire to become desperation. I remain centered. I remain receptive. I remain ready. Prosperous, successful, and generous people enter my life naturally. I learn from those who have produced meaningful results. I do not worship them. I do not imitate them blindly. I observe their discipline, communication, courage, judgment, patience, and ability to create value. I take what is wise and adapt it to my own appointed path. I am part of a community where people lift one another. We do not resent success. We celebrate progress. We share ideas, introductions, opportunities, and encouragement with discernment and generosity. My relationships increase in quality. My reputation grows through integrity. My network grows because I contribute genuine value. I do not approach people only to take. I listen. I help. I connect. I remember. I keep my word. Trust becomes a form of wealth around me. My income is capable of increasing without requiring endless strain. New sources of revenue appear as I become receptive to new forms of service. I do not control every channel. I allow divine intelligence to reveal the most harmonious channel. Money comes through expected means, such as salary, business income, commissions, contracts, sales, or royalties. Money can also come through refunds, repayment, gifts, correction, the sale of an asset, the removal of unnecessary expenses, or an opportunity that appears suddenly. I remain practical. I remain discerning. I do not confuse every promise with divine guidance. I verify. I study. I understand the terms. I avoid dishonest schemes. True abundance does not require me to abandon wisdom. I am at peace with money. I can examine an account without fear. I can create a budget without feeling restricted. I can make a payment without resentment. I can save without believing that loss is inevitable. I can enjoy appropriate spending without guilt. Inner peace opens the channel. Clear intention directs the flow. Wise action gives the intention form. Together, they establish stable prosperity. Every right expenditure supports circulation. Every amount saved creates a reservoir. Every intelligent investment, made with knowledge and appropriate caution, creates an opportunity for growth. Every generous gift, given freely rather than from pressure, allows good to move through me. I am not a dam of fear. I am not a leaking vessel of unconscious spending. I am a wise channel. I receive gladly. I direct carefully. I save consistently. I invest intelligently. I give generously. I enjoy gratefully. My confidence is becoming stable. It does not depend upon one favorable event. It comes from knowing that I can learn, adjust, recover, and create again. When difficulty appears, I do not collapse. I ask, what is this teaching me? What resources available? Whom should I consult? What must I stop? What must I begin? What is the next right step? I am resilient. I am resourceful. I am teachable. I am unstoppable in the sense that I do not allow one disappointment to become the end of my journey. I rest when rest is needed. I change direction when wisdom requires it. I continue. I am a magnet for opportunities aligned with my abilities and purpose. Wealth flows toward the value I express. I think prosperous thoughts. I speak constructive words. I take actions that support increasing stability. I am becoming capable of sustaining wealth. I develop the habits and character of a prosperous steward. I grow in financial intelligence each day. I read. I study. I listen. I observe. I apply. Knowledge becomes useful only when it enters action. I do not consume endless information while avoiding the next step. I choose one principle and practice it. Money is energy in circulation, but it is also a practical resource requiring clear management. When I receive money, I acknowledge it. When I spend money, I understand its purpose. When I save money, I honor my future. When I invest money, I seek understanding. When I give money, I do so from an abundant and discerning heart. I am aligned with prosperity emotionally, spiritually, and practically. I feel abundant now. I feel peaceful now. I feel capable now. I do not wait for external perfection before changing my inner posture. This does not mean I pretend every condition is ideal. It means I refuse to postpone peace until life obeys every demand. My thoughts influence my choices. My beliefs influence what I notice. My emotions influence how I respond. Therefore, I cultivate an inner atmosphere that supports wisdom. I see opportunities. I recognize patterns. I hear guidance. I bless all money that comes to me. I bless all money that goes out for right purposes. I bless the prosperity of others. I bless my present financial condition and call it into increasing order. I bless the lessons of the past. I bless the possibilities of the future. What I bless, I become willing to use wisely. I appreciate the money presently available. I appreciate my income, whether it is currently large or modest. I appreciate my skills. I appreciate knowledge. I appreciate relationships. I appreciate time. I appreciate health. I appreciate the freedom to make a new decision. I am already wealthy in many forms. From this consciousness of recognition, I welcome greater visible abundance. I do not merely wish. I know. I know that divine intelligence is active. I know that I can learn. I know that I can respond. I know that one channel is not the whole source. I know that my inner state is becoming more compatible with the prosperity I seek. I trust the intelligence that holds planets in their courses and grows a great tree from a tiny seed. That intelligence is capable of revealing an idea to me. It is capable of guiding me toward the right person. It is capable of showing me what must be released. It is capable of arranging circumstances beyond my personal control. My task is to remain receptive and act when guidance appears. I do not use trust as an excuse for passivity. I do not use action as an excuse for panic. I unite faith and action. Every night of this practice deepens the new consciousness. Every morning brings another opportunity to express it. I am faithful. I am committed. I complete the 21 nights with sincerity, and every night my path grows clearer. There was once a man who desired to build a business. He possessed a clear idea, but he did not possess the conventional resources people told him were necessary. He had little capital. He had no established connections in the industry. He had no impressive record of previous success in that field. When he described his plan, people responded with practical objections. They told him the market was difficult. They told him established competitors would overwhelm him. They told him investors would not trust someone without experience. They told him that enthusiasm was not enough. Some of their warnings contained useful information. A wise person does not reject every practical concern merely because it is uncomfortable. But the man noticed that much of the advice was offered as a final verdict. You cannot. He decided not to accept impossibility as the last word. He also decided not to rush into reckless action. Each night before sleep, he visualized the business in successful operation. He saw satisfied customers. He saw products or services creating genuine value. He saw himself solving daily problems calmly. He saw a small but capable team working together. He imagined reviewing profitable accounts at the end of the month. He felt gratitude, responsibility, and quiet pride. He did not visualize only money. He visualized service. He visualized organization. He visualized trust. He visualized the kind of person he would need to become in order to direct the business wisely. Then he repeated, "Divine intelligence reveals the right form of this enterprise. I am guided toward the knowledge, capital, relationships, and opportunities required. I do not force unsuitable partnerships. I recognize the right helpers. I take one inspired and practical step at a time. My business creates value and is supported in return." For 30 nights, he maintained the vision. During the day, he researched. He revised the concept. He studied the needs of potential customers. He listened to criticism without allowing it to extinguish his purpose. He allowed useful feedback to improve the plan. Within approximately 2 weeks, he spoke about the idea during a casual conversation at a coffee shop. A stranger nearby overheard part of the discussion. The stranger had spent many years in the very industry the man hoped to enter. He was now retired and searching for a meaningful project through which he could share his experience. The two began talking. The retired entrepreneur asked detailed questions. He did not offer immediate praise. He tested the man's understanding. He identified weaknesses in the plan, but he also saw potential. Over time, he offered knowledge, introductions, and financial support. The business launched within several months and became profitable during its first year. To an outside observer, the meeting appeared accidental. To the man, it represented the convergence of preparation, clear vision, conversation, openness, and right timing. The stranger could have been sitting nearby on another day and remained unnoticed. The man could have kept the idea secret out of fear. He could have spoken about it without preparation and failed to inspire confidence. He could have rejected the stranger's questions as criticism. Consciousness did not eliminate action. It prepared him to recognize and cooperate with the opportunity. This is the lesson. Claim success in consciousness, then become available to the path that expresses it. Visualize not only the reward, but also the responsibility. See yourself behaving with discipline. See yourself serving customers well. See yourself handling setbacks. See yourself learning. See yourself making difficult decisions with integrity. Affirm, "My financial success is accepted in consciousness now. I see my prosperous life vividly. I feel gratitude for the good being prepared. My subconscious becomes familiar with responsibility, service, and success. I know that my vision must be supported by preparation and action. I do not merely hope. I claim, prepare, recognize, and respond. My successful life is becoming real within consciousness. Physical expression follows according to divine order and proper development. I do not become impatient with the interval between seed and fruit. I use the interval to prepare. My prosperity blesses more than me. My children and loved ones are supported through the wisdom I develop. I create a legacy that extends beyond money. I pass forward healthy beliefs. I teach that money is neither a god nor an enemy. I teach that money must be earned honestly, received gratefully, managed intelligently, and circulated generously. I teach the next generation to save. I teach them to understand agreements. I teach them not to borrow merely to impress others. I teach them that wealth is built through consciousness, character, value, patience, and informed action. I end generational patterns of secrecy and shame. I create open, age-appropriate conversations about resources. I become a pioneer of prosperity within my family line. This does not mean that I carry the burden of rescuing every person. It means I establish a healthier pattern in my own life. My example becomes permission. My wisdom becomes inheritance. My peace becomes part of what I pass forward. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. Prosperity extends beyond money. It includes physical vitality. It includes emotional stability. It includes purpose. It includes love. It includes time. It includes the freedom to make decisions consistent with my values. My wealth supports my health. I use resources to nourish my body. I seek appropriate care. I allow rest. I move my body. I manage stress. I do not sacrifice the whole life merely to increase one number. I seek holistic abundance. My life is rich in love. My life is rich in friendship. My life is rich in meaning. My life is rich in health. My life is rich in useful work. My life is increasingly rich in money. All these forms of abundance can exist harmoniously. I trust that unseen preparation may be occurring. I believe useful circumstances can form before I know about them. The right person may be thinking about the problem I can solve. A position may be opening. A customer may be searching. A refund may be processing. A skill I am learning may soon become valuable. A conversation may be moving toward me. I do not need to see every movement to trust that movement exists. I remain attentive. I remain willing. I receive income from multiple healthy sources. I spend on what genuinely matters. I save part of what I receive. I invest wisely according to my knowledge, circumstances, and tolerance for risk. I give to people and causes that align with my values. Money circulates through me in balanced ways. I do not become obsessed with receiving while refusing to give. I do not give so recklessly that I create resentment or instability. I honor the whole circulation. Now your breathing becomes slower. The conscious mind is like a sun setting gently beyond the horizon. The subconscious rises like a quiet moon in the evening sky. You are entering the gentle threshold between waking and sleep. There is nothing you must accomplish consciously. Let the words fall like rain upon fertile soil. Some seeds enter deeply. Some will be remembered. Some will work beneath awareness. You are safe. You are held. You are supported. Release control. Release effort. Surrender the demand to understand every stage. Sigh. I trust divine intelligence. I allow my deeper mind to receive what serves my highest good. I do not resist the change. I am clay in the hands of divine wisdom, being shaped into a vessel capable of receiving and circulating abundance. I surrender. I allow. I trust. I receive. Your dreams may reflect the prosperity consciousness forming within you. You may dream of a home. You may dream of travel. You may dream of work, money, water, light, keys, doors, gardens, or harvest. Do not become anxious about interpreting every image. A dream may simply reflect the mind processing the words it has heard. Welcome, peaceful dreams. And if you remember nothing in the morning, know that rest was still valuable. You do not need proof from a dream. The transformation continues whether the conscious mind records it or not. Each night compounds the previous night. Night 1 establishes intention. Night 2 strengthens commitment. Night 3 deepens familiarity. By night 7, you may notice emotional changes. By night 14, new habits may feel more available. By night 21, the practice has become a meaningful inner path. Do not turn these milestones into rigid promises or tests. Transformation unfolds differently for every person. Use the nights as a disciplined container, not as a demand that life produce one exact event on one exact day. I create my prosperous life one night at a time. I protect this practice. I prioritize it. I complete 21 nights because consistency honors my intention. The vault of my subconscious remains open. Within it are not only symbols of money, but also courage, intelligence, creativity, memory, discipline, and faith. I access these riches. I bring them into daily life. I am surrounded by help. Some help comes visibly through people. Some comes as intuition. Some comes as protection from the wrong opportunity. Some comes as a delay that prevents a mistake. Some comes as strength during difficulty. I gratefully acknowledge every form of support. I cooperate with guidance. I do not wait for an angel to perform the action assigned to me. When guidance says call, I call. When guidance says study, I study. When guidance says wait, I wait. When guidance says leave, I prepare to leave wisely. When guidance says begin, I take the first step. Money becomes my friend and useful companion. I no longer speak to it with hatred. I no longer use it carelessly. I honor money by directing it wisely. Money honors the value I create by returning through fair exchange. We exist in healthy partnership. I plant prosperity seeds whenever I think a constructive thought. I plant a seed whenever I speak a word of faith. I plant a seed whenever I perform a useful action. I plant a seed whenever I forgive. I plant a seed whenever I save. I plant a seed whenever I learn. These seeds grow beneath the surface. I water them with consistency. I protect them from constant negative speech. I nourish them with gratitude and expectation. The harvest is forming. I do not know the exact day every seed will break through the soil. I trust the process and continue tending the garden. Every person you meet may contain a lesson, a connection, an opportunity, or an invitation to serve. This does not mean you must treat every person as a financial instrument. It means you remain awake to the sacred possibilities of relationship. A conversation may provide information. A question may reveal a need. An introduction may open a door. An act of kindness may return years later through an unexpected channel. Approach life with open eyes. Do not walk through the day so absorbed in fear that you miss the good placed directly before you. Sigh, I am alert to abundance. I recognize my good in expected and unexpected forms. I say yes to prosperity when it appears in integrity. I am ready to receive. The work I do has value. I deserve fair compensation for genuine value. I do not undervalue myself to avoid rejection. I also do not exaggerate or promise results I cannot deliver. I communicate clearly. I allow the quality of my work to support my confidence. I do not chase those who repeatedly refuse to value my contribution. I become visible to people capable of recognizing and paying for quality. My value is acknowledged. My contribution is rewarded. I make decisions that serve long-term prosperity. I become conscious of impulse. Before buying, I ask, does this serve a real purpose? Am I purchasing from joy and clarity, or from emotional discomfort? Will this still matter tomorrow? Does this support the future I am building? I choose quality when quality matters. I avoid unnecessary accumulation. I do not buy symbols merely to appear prosperous. True prosperity does not need constant performance. I am willing to live below my current means while building stability. This is not poverty consciousness. It is wisdom. I distinguish deprivation from purposeful restraint. Purposeful restraint gives me greater choice later. My financial intelligence grows daily. I study principles of earning, saving, taxation, investing, business, negotiation, and risk according to my needs. I learn from credible, experienced people. I do not accept every online promise. I distinguish education from persuasion. I understand before committing. I ask questions. I seek qualified professional advice when stakes are significant. Spiritual confidence and practical due diligence belong together. I apply what I learn. One applied lesson is more powerful than 100 ideas admired but never practiced. Inspired action follows inner guidance. When an idea returns peacefully and persistently, I examine it. I do not dismiss it merely because the entire path is not visible. Clarity often increases after the first responsible step. I can send one message, research one subject, create one sample, schedule one meeting, save one amount, submit one application, begin one lesson. I do not need to see the whole staircase before placing my foot upon the first step. My inspired action and prosperity consciousness create momentum. I celebrate every financial improvement, however small. A coin found is not proof that I will suddenly become wealthy, but it is still an opportunity for gratitude. A discount is useful. A refund is useful. A new client is useful. A debt reduction is useful. A week without unnecessary spending is useful. A small amount saved is useful. A new skill is useful. When I celebrate small evidence, I train my attention to recognize progress. What I appreciate becomes more visible. What becomes visible can be directed more wisely. I am grateful for every amount. I am capable of receiving larger amounts without despising the smaller ones. I forgive everyone who has harmed me financially. I release resentment toward those who owe me. Forgiveness does not prevent me from requesting payment. It does not prevent legal or practical action. It prevents hatred from consuming the energy I need for rebuilding. I release anger toward those who deceived me. I establish boundaries. I become more discerning. I refuse to carry their actions as a permanent curse upon my future. I forgive myself. I release shame about money wasted. I release guilt over missed opportunities. I stop punishing myself for a past that cannot be changed. I learn. I become wiser. Every day offers another decision. My past mistakes do not define my future success. As prosperity increases, generosity increases. I give freely to causes that matter. I support people in genuine need when it is wise and possible. I express appreciation for excellent service. I share knowledge. I offer encouragement. My generosity is not performed to purchase love or approval. I do not give what I cannot afford from guilt. I give from guidance and overflow. Generosity is healthy circulation. My home becomes a sanctuary of peace and abundance. I keep the space as orderly as possible. I remove what creates unnecessary heaviness. I repair what can be repaired. I clean, organize. I create beauty with what is available. I do not postpone dignity until I live in a more expensive place. A simple home can be filled with abundance through care. My environment supports thought. It supports rest. It supports creativity. I place reminders of my goals where they encourage rather than pressure me. My home reflects self-respect. I dress in a way that supports confidence. Prosperity does not require expensive clothing. It requires care. Clean, suitable, well-maintained clothing can communicate dignity. I honor my body. I present myself appropriately for the opportunity before me. I do not use appearance to hide insecurity. I use it as one expression of self-respect. My health is wealth. Without energy, every opportunity becomes harder to use. I nourish my body according to my needs. I move regularly. I sleep sufficiently. I seek appropriate medical care. I manage stress through prayer, rest, healthy boundaries, movement, and honest conversation. I do not treat the body as a machine to be sacrificed for income. My body is the instrument through which I express my gifts. I care for it. My relationships support prosperity. I surround myself with those who can celebrate growth. I also welcome people who tell me the truth with kindness. Support does not mean constant agreement. A trustworthy friend may challenge a reckless decision. A wise partner may reveal a blind spot. I distinguish constructive guidance from repeated belittlement. I release relationships that constantly undermine my worth or sabotage my progress when repair is not possible. I attract friendships, partnerships, mentors, colleagues, and clients aligned with integrity. Together we rise. Together we learn. Together we prosper. Relationships themselves are a form of wealth. I remain patient with manifestation. A seed does not become a tree the day it is planted. I do not dig it up repeatedly to inspect the roots. I continue watering. I continue preparing. I trust the season. Patience does not mean inactivity. The farmer prepares the soil. The farmer protects the field. The farmer waters. The farmer removes weeds. Then the farmer allows natural growth. I create a life of financial freedom. Freedom means choice. I can choose where to live with greater flexibility. I can choose work because it aligns with purpose, not only because I am terrified of losing income. I can choose how to use time. I can help others without destroying my own stability. Money is the tool. Freedom is one of the deeper purposes. Now see yourself 5 years from this night. Do not demand one rigid picture. Allow a harmonious vision to form. You awaken in a peaceful space. Your financial life is orderly. You possess multiple healthy sources of income appropriate to your work and skills. Some income may require active work. Some may continue through assets, royalties, investments, systems, or business structures you have developed responsibly. You work because the activity is meaningful, not because panic drives you. You have time for rest. You travel if travel matters to you. You support causes you value. You provide for loved ones in balanced ways. You are not controlled by every unexpected expense. You possess reserves. You possess knowledge. You possess confidence. You have become a person who handles greater abundance calmly. See the expression on your face. Feel the steadiness. Notice the absence of frantic urgency. This vision is not a command that life must look exactly one way. It is a spiritual compass. It reveals the qualities toward which you are moving: freedom, peace, usefulness, stability, generosity, joy. I see it. I feel it. I know it. The future is being built through the consciousness and decisions I cultivate now. My future prosperous self is not a stranger. That person grows through every choice I make tonight and tomorrow. Day by day, night by night, I move into alignment with my wisest and most abundant self. Soon there is less separation between the person I imagine and the person I live as. I am grateful for the opportunity to renew my financial life. I am grateful that I discovered this practice. I am grateful for my willingness to continue. I honor my consistency. I appreciate myself for taking this seriously. I do not wait for another person to validate the inner work. Tonight is the beginning, not the end. Tomorrow night I return. Each night builds upon the previous night. By night 21, I will have established a meaningful rhythm of faith, reflection, gratitude, and right intention. My outer world responds progressively to the wisdom I express. My wealth is supported by the person I am becoming. My abundance is no longer merely desired. It is being prepared for. I rest in peace. The work required for tonight has been done. My deeper mind continues to integrate. Tomorrow I awaken with subtle changes that accumulate over time. I am becoming wealthier in thought. I am becoming wealthier in wisdom. I am becoming wealthier in confidence. I am becoming wealthier in action. All is well. All is guided. All is abundant. Sleep deeply. Rest completely. Dream abundantly. Awaken renewed. Transform gently and powerfully. Prosper according to divine order. Succeed in the work aligned with your highest good. Thrive in body, mind, relationship, purpose, and finances. You are wealthy. You are blessed. You are abundant. You are prosperous. You are provided for. You are capable of financial freedom. You are successful in the ways that serve your soul. You are supported. You are loved. You are being transformed. You are wealthy now in spiritual resources, and visible prosperity continues to grow. Good night. Rest now. I am a prosperity tree bearing fruit in its proper season. Wealth is becoming part of my nature rather than an object I chase desperately. Money manifests through who I am becoming and the value I express. I do not struggle needlessly. I do not strain against life. I establish prosperity consciousness and allow the right fruit to appear. I am rooted in faith. I am nourished by infinite supply. I am strengthened by spiritual understanding. I produce useful fruit season after season. My thoughts affect my body and behavior. Thoughts of abundance create openness. Thoughts of fear create contraction. I consciously return to openness, peace, and possibility. I am like a broadcasting tower in the symbolic language of this practice. My dominant consciousness influences what I notice, how I respond, and what I repeatedly create. Therefore, I transmit faith. I transmit value. I transmit readiness. I transmit gratitude. I become increasingly magnetic to people and opportunities aligned with these qualities. A man once desired to begin a business but lacked money, knowledge, and connections. People told him it could not be done. Yet each night, he held a clear vision. He did not merely see money. He saw customers served. He saw quality. He saw order. He saw himself capable of leadership. He prepared during the day. Then a conversation introduced him to someone with experience and resources. What appeared impossible became possible through a combination of vision, preparation, openness, and right relationship. Let this story remind you. The missing resource may exist in another person's hands. The missing knowledge may be available in a book, course, mentor, or conversation. The missing courage may emerge after one good night of rest. You do not need to possess every resource at the beginning. You must become willing to recognize and use the next resource. Sigh. I claim my success in consciousness. I visualize responsibility as clearly as reward. I see my good. I prepare for my good. I recognize my good. I receive my good. I wait with faith without becoming inactive. My family benefits from my transformation. I create wealth that supports future generations. I break patterns of fear. I teach healthy habits. I speak openly and wisely. I demonstrate that wealth and goodness can coexist. I show that prosperity can be generous. I show that financial discipline can create freedom. I show that mistakes can be corrected. I become the one through whom a new story begins. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. Prosperity touches every dimension. My body is supported. My mind is peaceful. My heart is open. My purpose is expressed. My finances are becoming orderly. My relationships are harmonious. I trust the unseen movement of divine order. Opportunities are being prepared. People who can help may be moving closer. Ideas may be combining in ways I do not yet perceive. The way does not need to be visible tonight. I rest in the assurance that the next step will become visible when it is needed. Money flows through me in healthy circulation. I receive. I spend. I save. I invest. I give. Each movement is governed by wisdom. Your breath is now so slow and gentle that you may already be sleeping lightly. The conscious awareness fades like the last light of evening. The deeper awareness remains open. Let the words wash over you like calm waves. Let them settle like rain into fertile soil. Nothing is required. Surrender effort. Say inwardly, I release control. I trust divine intelligence. I allow transformation. I am shaped into a vessel for abundance. I surrender. I trust. I receive. Dreams may arise. You may see symbols of success, gold, water, houses, doors, or journeys. Welcome them without demanding interpretation. If no dream is remembered, all is still well. The mind continues its quiet work. Night 1 builds the foundation. Night 2 strengthens it. Every night adds another layer. By night 7, you may notice peace. By night 14, you may recognize new thoughts and actions. By night 21, the practice has become part of your identity. I commit to the 21-night journey. I do not allow perfectionism to defeat consistency. I return even when one night feels less powerful than another. I understand that transformation is built through rhythm. The vault of my subconscious is open. The treasures within are available. Wisdom, ideas, courage, discipline, memory, creativity, intuition, faith. I access these resources whenever they are needed. I am supported by visible and invisible help. I cooperate with every form of guidance. Money is my friend and faithful tool. I honor it. I use it well. It returns through the value I create. I plant seeds of prosperity daily. I water them with faith. I protect them with constructive speech. I nurture them with gratitude. The harvest approaches in its right season. Every day may contain an opening. Every situation may contain a lesson. Every relationship may contain an opportunity to give or receive value. I walk through life awake. I am ready when prosperity knocks. My work is valuable. I am compensated fairly. I refuse to undervalue my contribution. I attract those who respect quality. I do not chase those committed to misunderstanding my value. I make wise decisions. I avoid impulsive waste. I invest in what develops my future. I choose usefulness over empty appearance. I increase in financial education. I take inspired action. I celebrate progress. I forgive. I give. I create beauty in my environment. I care for my health. I cultivate supportive relationships. I remain patient. I am building freedom. I see my prosperous future. I feel it. I prepare for it. I become it. I am grateful. I am committed. I am ready. Now let the affirmations become simple. You do not need to analyze them. Allow them to move gently beneath the surface. I am wealthy. Money flows. I am abundant. Wealth comes. I am prosperous. Riches manifest through right and harmonious channels. I am blessed. Opportunities appear. I am provided for. Success arrives in divine timing. I am financially free in consciousness. Good fortune accompanies wise action. I am divinely supplied. Abundance overflows. I am wealthy now. I am a prosperity tree. My roots are faith. My soil is gratitude. My water is consistency. My sunlight is divine intelligence. My fruit is value, peace, service, and financial increase. I do not force fruit. I cultivate the tree. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am prosperous. Money flows to me easily through the value I create. I am divinely provided for each day. Abundance is becoming my natural inner state. Prosperity reaches me from expected and unexpected channels. I am blessed beyond my former imagination. I maintain a healthy relationship with money. I respect it. I direct it wisely. I circulate it in ways that bless life. I deserve abundance. My value is inherent. I do not prove worth through unnecessary struggle. I release resistance. I release fear. I release guilt. I release shame. I forgive myself. I forgive others. I forgive my family for inherited beliefs. I am free from old programming. I welcome positive financial experiences. Money comes now through right action. Abundance manifests now through changing habits. Prosperity appears now through ideas and opportunities. The breakthrough is forming. Old patterns dissolve. New patterns strengthen. Old circumstances begin to change. New circumstances are prepared. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am ready. I welcome wealth. I embrace money as a tool for good. I celebrate prosperity. I am grateful. I am confident. I am peaceful. I am joyful. Successful people enter my life. Mentors appear. Supportive relationships form. We celebrate one another. We share wisely. My community grows. My income grows. New sources of value appear. I do not control the channel. I trust divine supply. Money comes through work. Money comes through business. Money comes through opportunity. Money comes through wise correction. Money comes through channels beyond my present sight. I am at peace with money. I do not obsess. I trust that needs are met through wisdom and action. I enjoy the present while preparing for more. Peace opens the channel. Intention directs the flow. Action gives it form. I understand circulation. I receive. I spend wisely. I save. I invest carefully. I give. I am resilient. I am resourceful. I overcome setbacks. I continue toward prosperity. I think wealthy thoughts. I speak wealthy words. I take wealthy actions. I develop wealthy habits. I learn about money. I improve daily. I am committed. Money circulates like water. I receive gladly. I spend purposefully. I save consistently. I invest intelligently. I give generously. My inner state is abundant. My body rests peacefully. My mind becomes quiet. I choose constructive emotion. My inner world influences my outer choices. I see opportunities. My perception is calibrated for possibility. Ideas come. Connections form. I recognize abundance. I act confidently. I bless incoming money. I bless outgoing money. I bless the prosperity of others. I bless my present condition. I bless my future. What I bless becomes useful and capable of increase. I am grateful for what I have. I appreciate my current income. I appreciate my resources. I appreciate knowledge. I appreciate relationships. I appreciate opportunities. I am already wealthy in many ways. I know prosperity is available. I do not merely wish. I know. I trust infinite intelligence. I release control. I allow details to be arranged. I remain receptive. Every night renews my subconscious patterns. Every morning moves me toward breakthrough. I complete 21 nights. My subconscious guides me toward better actions. I notice opportunities. I make wise decisions. I am debt-free in consciousness. My obligations are moving toward resolution. Money meets my needs. My accounts enter order. I focus on solutions. I choose faith. I forgive the past. My future is bright. I am free. I am empowered. I am optimistic. I have the consciousness of a prosperous person. I think with possibility. I speak abundance. I make wise decisions. I take action. I create and sustain wealth. I enjoy money without guilt. I visualize clearly. I feel the peace of prosperity. I see a well-ordered life. My inner vision guides outer action. I am an open channel. The golden river flows through me. It fills my mind with ideas. It fills my heart with gratitude. It fills my hands with useful work. I allow abundance to reach others through me. I trust divine timing. I do not rush. I remain patient and active. I celebrate others. Their prosperity proves possibility. Another person's gain is not my loss. I bless success wherever I see it. I speak with authority. My word has creative direction. I say, I am wealthy. I am guided. I am provided for. I am capable. I take right action. My word creates the atmosphere of my life. I recognize existing abundance. Above me is infinite supply. Below me is the earth supporting life. To my right are opportunities. To my left are blessings. Before me is a prosperous future. Behind me are lessons that strengthen me. Within me is consciousness capable of new creation. I am surrounded by abundance. Sleep comes deeper. Peace fills me. The conscious mind fades. The subconscious remains receptive. All is absorbed in ways that serve my highest good. I surrender. I am safe. I am supported. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am blessed. I am provided for. I am financially free. Money flows. Abundance comes. Prosperity manifests. Wealth increases. Blessings multiply. Opportunities appear. Success arrives. Freedom dawns. I am peaceful. I am grateful. I am confident. I am joyful. I am certain. I am wealthy. Wealth surrounds me. Abundance fills me. Prosperity blesses me. Riches come through right channels. Success finds the value I offer. Opportunity seeks the person prepared to receive it. Good fortune favors wise and courageous action. Blessings multiply. I rest in prosperity consciousness. I sleep in peace. I dream in abundance. I awaken renewed. My subconscious receives the words. My consciousness changes. My actions follow. My circumstances respond. I am transformed. I am wealthy now, in truth. Divine intelligence arranges circumstances for my highest good. Opportunities are being prepared. Helpful people are guided toward appropriate connection. Money flows toward me through multiple healthy channels. I become wealthier in wisdom with every breath. I become more prosperous in character with every heartbeat. I become more abundant in awareness with every moment. My transformation continues. My prosperity is possible. My wealth is developing. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. I am wealthy in consciousness now. Good night, beloved child of abundance. Sleep in prosperity. Dream in wealth. Rest in divine supply. Awaken tomorrow richer in peace, clearer in thought, and more receptive to right opportunity. You are blessed beyond measure. You are provided for by a source greater than any single channel. You are wealthy now in ideas, possibilities, and spiritual inheritance. Visible abundance continues to unfold under grace. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Amen. I am wealthy. Money flows. I am abundant. Wealth comes. I am prosperous. Riches manifest. I am blessed. Opportunities appear. I am provided for. Success arrives. I am financially free. I am divinely supplied. Abundance overflows. I am a prosperity tree, bearing fruit naturally in every right season. I do not chase prosperity desperately. I cultivate prosperity consciousness faithfully. I am rooted in faith. I am nourished by infinite supply. I am strengthened by spiritual law. My thoughts influence my perception. My perception influences my action. My action influences my experience. Therefore, I choose thoughts of possibility, gratitude, wisdom, and faith. I broadcast a consciousness of abundance. I become receptive to opportunities, relationships, and resources aligned with my highest good. I see my successful life clearly. I claim it in consciousness. I feel gratitude for it. I prepare for it. I wait patiently without doubt. My loved ones are provided for through my wise prosperity. I establish a legacy. I break generational patterns of fear. I teach healthy money habits. I become a pioneer of financial peace within my family. My prosperity extends into health, joy, love, purpose, and freedom. My life is rich in every meaningful dimension. I trust that divine order is working even when I cannot see every movement. I receive income easily and frequently from healthy sources. I spend joyfully on what matters. I save for future security. I invest wisely. I give generously. Money flows through me, blessing me and others. Now I move deeper into sleep. The voice becomes distant. The words become gentle waves. I release all control. I surrender effort. I trust divine intelligence. I allow transformation. I am safe. I am held. I am supported. My dreams may reflect prosperity. If I remember them, I receive them peacefully. If I do not remember, I trust the deeper work. Each night builds momentum. Night 1 creates the foundation. Night 7 strengthens the new pathway. Night 14 deepens the new identity. Night 21 completes the chosen cycle. I protect this practice. I prioritize it. I return faithfully. My subconscious vault is open. My inner wealth is available. I possess ideas, creativity, courage, and wisdom. I am supported by visible and invisible helpers. I cooperate with guidance. Money is my friend. I treat it with respect. I plant prosperity seeds. I water them with faith. I nurture them with gratitude. The harvest is forming. I remain alert to abundance. I recognize opportunity. I say yes to prosperity when it arrives through integrity. My work creates value. I deserve fair compensation. I know my value. I attract people who recognize it. I make wise decisions. I build wealth patiently. I grow in intelligence. I take inspired action. I celebrate every win. I forgive financial harm. I forgive myself. I give from an abundant heart. My home is peaceful and orderly. My appearance reflects self-respect. My health supports my prosperity. My relationships encourage growth. I am patient with the process. I do not dig up the seed. I keep watering. The harvest comes in perfect season. I create a life of financial freedom. I choose where to live with greater flexibility. I choose work aligned with purpose. I choose how to use my time. I support those I love. I serve meaningful causes. This is the true value of wealth. I see myself 5 years from now. I am calm. I am financially secure. I possess multiple healthy sources of income. I work with purpose. I travel if I choose. I give generously. I live according to my values. I see this future. I feel it. I know it. It exists as a spiritual possibility, and I move toward it through every wise decision, day by day, night by night, thought by thought, word by word, action by action. I become my prosperous self. I am grateful for this practice. I am grateful for the wisdom to apply it. I am grateful for my commitment. I honor myself for beginning. Tonight is the beginning of a new relationship with prosperity. Tomorrow night I return. Each night builds upon the night before. By the 21st night, my consciousness is calmer, clearer, wiser, and more receptive. My outer world begins to reflect the transformation. My abundance is accepted. My prosperity is developing. My good is unfolding. I rest now. The work for tonight is complete. My subconscious continues processing while I sleep. I awaken tomorrow with a renewed mind. I become wealthier in consciousness with every hour. I become more peaceful with every breath. I become more capable with every lesson. I prosper through divine intelligence, right consciousness, and inspired action. All is well. All is peaceful. All is abundant. I am wealthy now and always. Sleep deeply. Rest completely. Dream abundantly. Awaken renewed. Transform powerfully. Prosper inevitably through right consciousness and right action. Succeed confidently. Thrive permanently. You are wealthy. You are blessed. You are abundant. You are prosperous. You are provided for. You are capable of financial freedom. You are successful. You are fortunate. You are favored. You are loved. You are supported. You are transformed. You are wealthy now and always. Before you surrender fully to sleep, let one final declaration enter your heart. My words are filled with faith and peace. Divine order now governs my financial life. I release fear, recognize opportunity, and take inspired action. Infinite supply opens the right channels before me. I receive wisely, manage faithfully, and circulate generously. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Let this be the final thought. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Again, I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. And once more, I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Write this declaration in the comments as your commitment. I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Return tomorrow night. Continue for 21 consecutive nights. Do not measure the journey only by sudden money. Notice peace. Notice ideas. Notice discipline. Notice courage. Notice improved decisions. Notice opportunities. Notice the healing of your relationship with receiving. These are the roots from which visible prosperity grows. Rest now. You have spoken the word. You have planted the seed. You have opened the vault. You have entered divine order. The way is being revealed. Good night. You are safe. You are supported. You are guided. You are blessed. You are abundant. You are prosperous. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Amen.